Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. So tonight we are sort of finishing our coverage of the stolen valor swindler. We've been looking into this gentleman for some time, and that would be one fake space marine, Randy Kramer, who you may have seen on Gaia TV, along with such wonderful, great sources of information as Corey Good and David Wilcock, people like that. So I think it's important that while Randy Kramer is on to new scams, his current one is selling people superpowers for $99 a month. And you might get superpowers where you could shoot electricity out of your fingers, according to Randy Kramer's claims. If you work hard enough at his new course, you could have electricity shooting out of your fingers. And this is just the latest in a long line of absolutely ridiculous claims from a guy who claimed that he was an active duty United States Marine Corps member who was even given permission to talk about the secret space program and be the spokesperson for the United States Marine Corps. Too bad none of that is true. Randy Kramer is not now, nor has he ever been, active duty Marine Corps member. In fact, he's never joined the Marines. At various times, he's also claimed to be a Navy SEAL, which is extremely problematic for Mr. Kramer because there is a big list of Navy SEALs. In other words, if you're strong enough, passionate enough, and lucky enough to finish SEAL training, your name gets put on a list. That list is public. Guess who's not on that list? That's right, the fake Captain Randy Kramer. And I'm sure there's all kinds of excuses for why that is, according to his supporters, some of which are nameless, faceless sock accounts on Twitter that I'm sure is actually Randy Kramer. That's my opinion, but I'm entitled to it because go find me another person besides the one on Twitter arguing with me about these issues that cares enough about Randy Kramer and his integrity to spend 10 hours a day arguing about it. That's ridiculous. That's not a supporter. That's Randy Kramer hiding behind a sock puppet account, offering excuses for all of the wonderful revelations that we found that would seem to indicate that Randy Kramer is both a fraud and a liar and a serial scammer. And we're going to get into all of it tonight. I thought that we should start, however, with one of his big defenses is that he passed a lie detector test administered to him by Gaia TV. Now, first of all, Gaia TV is the less than credible entity that brought us such luminaries as, lately, Anjali, whose entire story was busted as fake and false, yet they still let her come on their network and tell her whole story as if it hadn't been busted as completely and totally fake, fictional, and false. By the way, we're the ones who did that. We covered that. And her entire story, Anjali's entire original story, came crashing down. And the so-called witnesses to the alien encounter said none of this happened. They still let her come on their network and tell her story as if it were true and hadn't been busted. Not exactly a trustworthy company, but Mr. Kramer likes to run around and make these claims that he passed a polygraph. Well, what does that mean? What were the questions? Can we see the charts? Who was the administrator? Well, Randy Kramer claims that it's a former Marine and a former police officer who administered the test. Then he gives a name of a polygraph company that doesn't exist. I found a similar one, however, but we've made multiple calls to that company. And that company is called Thomas Hoff and Associates. He said it was Hoff and Hoff in Colorado. No, there is no Hoff and Hoff. There's a Thomas Hoff and Associates, but we don't know if that's the person he's referring to while he's bragging that he passed a lie detector test. I don't believe that he passed anything. I don't believe it. And I'm entitled to that belief based on Kramer's other various lies that we have caught him in. Further, if a company is hired by somebody like Gaia TV, I just don't trust that company to be fair and accurate. If he wants to take an independently administered polygraph, I know a former FBI polygrapher who I can send to his house. I'll pay for it, and we'll get the results. And we're going to ask the right questions, like, when did you enlist in the United States Marine Corps? Where and when did you attend Navy SEAL training? He will fall apart under the scrutiny of a real polygraph examiner. No, I think Gaia TV started floating this idea that they're issuing polygraphs to their people after Corey Good. Apparently Jason Rice passed a lie detector test, and he told fantastical fairy tales just like Corey Good. So I'm sorry, I don't believe a polygrapher who's being paid to bolster the stories of liars on Gaia TV. But still the same, we'll put up our fair use banner and we'll hear these claims. Then we're going to call that lie detector company live on air right here. And this is fair use. We're educating the public and we're critiquing the videos we're sharing. This is covered under fair use. By the way, I have already called this polygraph company, which matches at least the name. He said Hoff and Hoff. It's not Hoff and Hoff. It's Thomas Hoff and Associates. But I was unable to verify if that person was a former Marine or former police officer like he claimed, and they will not return any phone calls. So that should tell you that this Randy Kramer running around claiming, I passed a lie detector test and they'll verify everything. Well, apparently not, because I've called 5 times and no one will call me back. That says something about the legitimacy of Mr. Kramer's claims. But in fairness, we're still going to share his various claims. And this is from an appearance with Michael Salla, who is the root of all of these secret space program scammers. They all come through him, whether it's Corey Good or Elena Dannon lately, right? And others. Randy Kramer also came through Michael Salla, who basically just believes everyone and doesn't want to see any information. By the way, just to be clear, I sent Michael Salla all of the paperwork from the National Personnel Records Center, which verifies Randy Kramer was not now, nor was he ever, in the United States Marine Corps. I sent him the paperwork from the United States Navy, which proves that Randy Kramer is not now, nor was he ever, a member of the United States Navy. I asked him for comment. Crickets. Michael Salla is an intellectual coward and a weakling, and when confronted with real evidence, he runs away like a little bitch. But anyway, let's hear his lie detector claims. Then we're going to call the lie detector company just to show you that lie detector company, apparently it's just a voicemail service, and they never return their calls. Never. By the way, I called an hour before broadcast, and I called earlier today as well. No return call. I've made 5 phone calls to the polygraph company that I believe he's mentioning here. They won't return my call or verify any of Randy Kramer's claims that he makes in this video. In this video, essentially, he claims he aced the polygraph. I beg to differ, but okay. All right, I've got this queued up here. Let's get into it, friends.
Well, yeah.
By the way, this is fair use. We're educating the public, and we're going to be talking about the claims of this fake stolen valor fraud, the fake captain, Randy Kramer.
As a researcher, one of the things we look at in terms of like assessing witnesses is, how consistent are their stories. And since our first interview was in 2014 and now it's 2022, that's 8 years, your story hasn't changed.
Yeah, I love this. This is the go-to for all of the scam squad that likes to sell fake people selling fake stories. Well, their story hasn't changed in all this time. People do this with Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar's story changes constantly. They do this with Corey Good. Corey Good's story changes constantly. And this clown is doing it with this guy. Just because someone is able to say the same thing consistently doesn't mean that their story is truthful. It just means that they have a good grasp of their story and have either memorized it well if it's fictitious, or they're a good liar. It doesn't mean that their story is true. Evidence means their story is true. Michael Sala, you clown.
It's essentially the same.
Just how I remember it. Yeah.
You just remember a little bit more now.
Your
So
reason's
that's
gotten a little more clear. Yeah.
So that's a very good sign. And I think it's also important to mention for people who are skeptical that you actually did do a lie detector test, and Gaia TV put you through that. So,
and by the way, Gaia TV also claimed that people gluing together body parts had alien mummies. So we have to consider the source. If Gaia TV is saying, oh, Randy Kramer passed a lie detector, this is the same company that said a bunch of guys, remember those Nazca mummies, those alien mummies where somebody literally stole body parts and bones from a burial site and glued them all together with duct tape and plaster, and then claimed that those were alien mummies? That's the same company that is claiming Randy Kramer passed a polygraph. Sorry, you need more than that.
you want to tell us about, what happened with Gaia TV, why they put you through the lie detector test and the result?
Yeah, I'm always happy to give them a plug. Done some episodes for Cosmic Disclosure with Gaia, and they, a little while back, were like, hey, do you want to do a polygraph? And I was like, absolutely, I want to do a polygraph. So I was psyched. And they set it up with a...
Here's where we get into the specific claims. And again, we're going to leave a message for this polygraph company and ask him if he's a former United States Marine or former police officer like Randy Kramer claimed. And by the way, there's another Hoff. There's a Brian Hoff in Colorado who does polygraphs. So here's where there's some confusion. And this is important. So Randy Kramer essentially gives the wrong name of a company that does polygraphs. I think he did that intentionally because there's two Hoffs in the state of Colorado who do polygraphs. One of them is the company I found that won't return any phone calls, Thomas Hoff and Associates. And the other one is a man named Brian Hoff, who works for a nonprofit. And he used to be, until recently, a grade school teacher, I believe. And he's just a self-taught guy who does polygraphs. I don't know if he does it for a hobby. I don't know if he does it for fun, for a side hustle. But if he's talking about a former school teacher, that's a real problem. So who is the actual person who actually administered the polygraph? Because there's no company called Hoff and Hoff. Why would he get that so wrong? But he did. So we've got two people in the state of Colorado who give polygraphs. One of them is Thomas Hoff and Associates, who I keep calling and they won't return any calls, which is very suspicious. And the other one is a grade school teacher and part-time polygrapher.
Person who is probably the most qualified polygraph examiner in the state of Colorado that I could have gotten, who was a gentleman and his son who are a father-son team called Hoff and Hoff of Colorado Springs. Thomas Hoff is he
does name them. So we have the right person, but his father is no longer working for the company. So I stand corrected. Thomas Hoff.
Veteran police officer of the Los Angeles Police Department, detective for like over 20 years, administered polygraph exams for them for over 22 years, has administered over 10,000 polygraph exams, and is the president of the Colorado Polygraph Examiners Association.
No, he's not. I checked. But interestingly, the sock puppet account on Twitter, who is arguing with me, or spent quite some time arguing with me, that Randy Kramer's the real deal, also repeated all of these exact talking points. Well, he had a polygraph from a guy who administered 10,000 polygraphs, and he's been doing it for 22 years, and he's a former Marine and a former police officer. Then why won't the guy call me back and verify all of this? Very suspicious.
As well as a former Marine. So I could not have asked for a more qualified polygraph examiner to give me a polygraph. And for people who don't understand polygraphs, polygraphs are not a stress detector on whether you feel guilty about telling a lie or something. It is autonomic responses, blood pressure, the dilation of the capillaries on your fingertips, and a couple other things, electro.
He seems awfully educated on polygraphs. Yeah. And by the way, you know, there's a reason polygraphs are not admissible in court. Very unreliable. There are people who spent a lifetime being polygraph examiners and then came out and said that it's all bunk. And it really is up to the determination of the person administering the test, whether somebody passes or fails. There's an awful lot of problems with polygraphs, but let's move on.
Transmission signals on the surface of your skin that register when you tell a fiction. So you can tell something that you have no emotional attachment to, no guilt for, like I had an elephant sandwich for breakfast today, and it will totally show that you are not telling the truth. So it's not a stress detector. It's not a I feel bad or guilty about telling this lie, so it's going to detect me.
One other thing comes to mind. Sociopaths and psychopaths and pathological liars have no problem passing polygraph exams. Did you know that? Yeah. And also, people who just believe their BS can pass a polygraph. It doesn't mean that their stories are true. It just means they believe their stories are true.
It is
or they have a psychological condition, like I mentioned, which makes it easy for them to pass a polygraph because they don't have the normal responses a, quote, normal person would have while lying.
4 autonomic systems in the body that trigger when we tell things that are simply not fact and are fiction that show up. And they also do this test with a baseline. And the baseline is a question that they ask you, which you are supposed to lie to on purpose, because that gives them a baseline of what happens when you tell a lie and how that looks on the test. So I want to say the question that they would ask when I did the test was, have you ever said anything to anyone in anger that you regretted? And since everybody has, including myself, you're supposed to say no to that answer. It's an obvious lie to a question that everyone, the answer would be yes to. And so that's the baseline question. And the baseline question is repeated like throughout the questions as they repeat the questions. So you get asked the questions that.
And by the way, this is where we get into nonsense. There's no one standard way that a polygraph exam is administered. Some examiners will do the baseline question multiple times. Some will just do it once, and that's it. So, you know, Mr. Expert here.
That they're trying to get you tested on asked multiple times. You get the test question, the baseline question asked multiple times. So you end up with a chart that shows you, you know, how flat is the flat line? You know, when we asked them the question, how high is the spike when we asked the test question? And then you get, based on that, you get whether someone is basically telling the truth or not. I was told.
I think it's interesting too that Salah just said, tell us about that polygraph exam you passed. And meanwhile, he's going to give everybody this entire education on polygraphs and how they work and an awful lot of detail.
Told by Thomas that I aced the test, which means.
Okay, so he was told by Thomas that he aced the test, but he doesn't tell us what the questions were. And we don't get to see the charts or interview the polygraph examiner to determine if Randy is telling the truth here.
That my lies were a nice sharp peak, like they should be, which is the test question. And that every single other question I was asked was an absolute flat line of absolute certain truth. So I am thrilled to have taken the test. Couldn't have been asked to get someone, a more qualified examiner, to give the test, and aced it according to him. And he said anytime, if anybody really has questions about that test or doubts about it, they can contact him. So Hoff and Hoff, Colorado Springs, you want to ask questions about the test, you can contact them and talk to them about it.
Yeah, except there's a real problem here. And that is that this person who administered the test will not return phone calls. And we're gonna call. Okay, Randy, we can call and verify the test, right? We can call and verify the test. So we're gonna call right now. I called five times already. It's always been a voicemail. And no one has called me back to verify Randy's claims.
Thank you for calling Thomas Opp and Associates Polygraph. Your phone call is very important to us. Please leave a message, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
At the tone, please record your
We'll
message.
leave a message.
When you have finished recording, simply hang up or press pound for further options.
Hello, sir. My name is Stephen. I called you several times previously. I have just reviewed a video where this fake space Marine, Captain Randy Kramer, he claims that you're a former Marine Corps member and a former police officer, and that you said anyone who wants to verify the results of his polygraph and him acing it can call and talk to you, and you'll verify that he aced the polygraph that you administered to him. I'd appreciate a return call. You can reach me. All right, there we have it. So that's it for the polygraph. I'm sorry, Mr. Kramer. Nice try with the smoke screen, but unless people can actually verify what you're saying, it doesn't matter. It means nothing. And we want to see the list of questions, and we want to interview the polygrapher, right? Oh, Jimmy Church has Jason Quidd on tonight. That's great. No comment. No comment. It's best not to comment. All right. So what do I think of the polygraph claims? I think they're garbage, just like his military claims. But what we're going to do next is talk specifically about the Medbed Scam claims. And I have some items to share about that, which are very, very interesting. And let me share those here with you. All right, and let me change something here. There we go, and we'll make that bigger. And so here is the original posting on GoFundMe, which is extremely problematic. Randy Kramer's heroic efforts to help research and develop Earth's first holographic regenerating medbeds. His funds are running low. To continue this awesome endeavor, he needs your help. This $70,000 goal will help bridge the gap. Once Captain Randy Kramer has these funds, his mission, and here's where it gets really problematic for Randy Kramer, it says his mission is sanctioned by his brigadier general. How does a fake Marine have a brigadier general? He's not a real Marine. I guess the brigadier general's fake too. And how slimy is it to pretend that you're a Marine and you are going to bring medbed technology and help all those injured veterans, and you're being sanctioned, right? This whole project, this whole medbed project is sanctioned, or I suppose sponsored or endorsed by his brigadier general. It's to bring together large investors to employ full-time medical engineers and computer software engineers, security services, and other personnel, and a team of professionals to develop the first prototypes. Yeah. This 70,000 goal to help bridge the gap. Once Randy Kramer has these funds, his mission, sanctioned by his brigadier general, moves forward, right? The eventual mass production of these futuristic medbeds means we, the Earth's population, can finally have access to a technology which can, 1, regrow limbs, 2, cure all diseases, including cancer, 3, age regress an older body to a younger body, 4, allow us to live much longer, to have fun and contribute more. These funds are needed right now in capital letters. He definitely needed the money during this Medbed scam. These funds go directly and only to Independent Field Commander Randy Kramer, U.S. Marine Corps. Mars Defense Force, yes. The sooner we can reach this goal, the sooner we can all have access to these amazing Elysium-style holographic regenerating med beds. This technology is cheaper, faster, less invasive, and less traumatic. Yeah. And it works better, and it costs less money. It cures everything, everything. It can cure blindness, deafness, limbs that are damaged, limbs that are gone, organs that are damaged, neurological diseases, genetic disorders, and regrowing limbs. It would absolutely fix and cure every single thing, even the things that our modern medical science can't. Not only can you fix everything, cellular regeneration for life extension is not even complicated. And here is where things get interesting, because this is a YouTuber named Pot of Gold. And Pot of Gold apparently gave, well, first she said 78,000 Australian dollars to Captain Randy Kramer's holographic regenerating med beds and research and development project. Then she corrected herself and said, no, I gave 80,000 Australian dollars, 60,000 US dollars to Captain Randy Kramer's holographic regenerating med beds research and development project. So there's 60,000 US dollars that apparently Randy Kramer was given for this medbed scam. But it's important to realize that that $60,000 didn't go to the GoFundMe, so she must have sent it to him by PayPal or some separate means, if she even did at all. For all we know, this is a sock puppet account, and Randy Kramer is pumping people to, donate big by claiming that someone donated 60,000 US dollars. We have no verification. However, a researcher named Richard Cole reached out to her and she claimed that she got nothing for her money. Same researcher, Richard Cole, also verified that the GoFundMe page had 10,000 US dollars reached before GoFundMe pulled it for being a scam. So if we believe this person, if we believe this person, and we also believe the GoFundMe, there's no reason to not believe the $10,000 figure from GoFundMe. This one, I'm not sure of. It's in question. I haven't seen, bank deposits or canceled checks or anything to verify that this woman actually gave him 60,000 US dollars. But if we take her for her word, that means that Randy Kramer made at least 70,000 US dollars, 70,000 US dollars in this medbed scam. If this is fake, he made at least $10,000 US in this medbed scam. And by the way, that person who claimed to give 60,000 US dollars claims she got nothing in return. She gave fake Space Marine Captain Randy Kramer 60,000 US dollars, and she got nothing in return. What's most troubling to me is that this guy is so stupid that he went on a tour of sorts and ran around pumping people to donate to this medbed scam GoFundMe. And while he was doing it, he was making an awful lot of absolutely fantastical claims. And I thought that we should see his pitch, because his pitch is hysterical. I'll take a moment just to check in with the live chat. We want to welcome all of you. If you're just now joining us, you are watching Truthseekers, and we are right now, we are showing the results of our investigation into Randy Kramer, fake Space Marines medbed scam, which apparently, or allegedly, or maybe netted him some $70,000, and he has yet to produce anything for the $70,000. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And in fact, after the GoFundMe page was shut down, Randy Kramer laid low for a while. Maybe he was spending all that money that he stole, allegedly. And then he has popped up recently with a new project where you can, for $99, you can take a course with him and you can get superpowers. We've covered that part of the Randy Kramer swindle previously. We're going to stick to the Medbed swindle tonight. So let's get into that. And this is a video that I have compiled from various public appearances that he's made and show appearances. And by the way, shame on all of these show hosts who did not vet any of his claims, let him go on their show and claim he was a Marine or a Navy SEAL or whatever, while he's scamming people, telling people that he's going to create med beds that cure cancer, blindness, deafness. He even, in one appearance, and we're going to watch that one, claimed that his med beds could cure autism and mental retardation in children, besides being able to regrow limbs. And I guess the troubling part for me is this sales pitch that he gives, wherein he is telling people that while on Mars, he was getting his arms and legs blown off constantly. But it's okay because they put him in the med bed and just would regrow his arms and legs that got blown off in a couple of hours. And while he was there, he learned all the secrets to this med bed technology, and he's going to bring it to us. Okay, if you say so, fake space marine. All right. Oh, and by the way, for all of you audiophiles, please, please don't complain to me. Randy Kramer, apparently, this is the guy, Randy Kramer, the super soldier space marine, who is going to, let's see, cure cancer, cure mental retardation and autism in children, cure blindness, cure deafness, regrow limbs, age regress people. Even if you're 85, you can go right back to being 21 years old and more. Randy Kramer has a microphone that he got at Five Below. In some of these podcast appearances, it's like distorted and echoing, and he's literally using a $5 microphone as he's begging people for millions of dollars in this Medbed scam. I'm just pointing that out, so please don't complain to me that about the audio quality. I did the best that I could quickly to clean it up before broadcast tonight. It's really Randy Kramer, Space Marines, $5 microphone.
Killing, dying, getting blown up, getting rebuilt again. We have these really cool medically, these holographic regenerating medical beds. So cool. They make every other medical technology you have ever heard of Dark Ages obsolete. Dark Ages obsolete.
Yeah, the holographic regenerating medical bed, major technology that we use because it just fixes everything. And when you're, especially when you're talking about where you're having to deal with massive tissue damage and regeneration and so forth, you know, you can't just inject a serum into somebody's arm to grow back their hand and so forth and to restore a liver that's been blown.
Whoa. Well, we want to thank Chris Johansson for a kind and generous 100 Canadian dollars. Whew, very generous of you. Praise the cash. Praise the cash. Thank God Almighty, Chris Johansson is here. He's praising the cash big time today. I feel it. I feel the generosity in the air, Chris Johansson. Praise the cash. Praise the cash. Hallelujah. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, and for helping us to praise the cash, Chris.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Incredibly generous of you. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and continued support of the show. A big-time show supporter, throwing it down tonight and setting a good example for everyone else. Thank you for your kindness. Much, much appreciated. That'll go a long way towards helping our show. And we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Chris says you're welcome. No, you're welcome. I'm going to keep you in my prayers, Chris. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, right? Yes, so nice and generous. We have the most generous people here, right? And thank you. I appreciate it immensely. So essentially, I don't know if we're going to go through all of this. I might I'm going to post this video separately. This whole video, which I made, is clips of Randy Kramer trying to sell the Medbed scam. And all of these media appearances were made while the GoFundMe was still active and live.
So pretty much the holographic regenerating medical beds was the only thing that, you know, could keep people together fast enough and quick enough. And especially what I'm really excited about is the medical regenerating med beds, which can regrow limbs and restore damaged organs, etc. The holographic regenerating medical bed technology is probably one of the most amazing technologies.
And by the way, again, this man is claiming that he could regrow limbs, cure cancer, cure every disease in the world, but he only has access to a $5 microphone
I've ever seen or heard of. And certainly for me to be standing here with body parts that have been ripped apart and blown off so many times is miraculous, a miracle of science.
So he's had his body parts blown off and regenerated multiple times.
In and of itself, I would have to say. And my favorite part about this technology is that we now understand that we have the basic components on planet Earth in the civilian world to start putting this technology together.
And by the way, the claims that are being made in text on the screen, I did not add. A supporter, the woman who gave him $60,000 US, added those.
So essentially the two main components of this technology are a computer that has the ability to have a genetic code entered into it.
Yeah, and by the way, I just want to take a moment to mention that I do have some expertise in the world of computers. I have a background in computer science. I've never seen a computer that has the ability to enter a genetic code into it. But given the vast amounts of data that DNA encompasses, it would have to be a hell of a computer, perhaps one that doesn't even exist. Isn't that interesting?
And be able to create a virtual model of that person based on that genetic code. The other
this is where we get into the realm of science fiction. So this system of his uses a computer that doesn't exist to create a model of a person just from their genetic code. Wow. Sounds like Star Trek to me, because these things don't exist in the real world, Randy Kramer.
A component that you need, main component, is a holographic projector, essentially the lensing of that projects a holograph, a three-dimensional holographic light image. You need that. Now,
and by the way, holography is still a very young science, and I have some experience with holograms as well. In fact, I used something like projectors or holographic projectors, or what people might call a holographic projector, in my magic shows. And you can see examples of my work on that on my previous YouTube channel. The things he's describing don't exist. There does not currently exist. You can have the illusion of 3D, but a 3D hologram projector, I don't believe one exists. Not like he's describing.
There are some other components to the technology that we used on Mars that way more advanced than
I used it on Mars.
We're going to be able to build here for sure. Generating technology, the medical regeneration bed technology, which I've talked quite a bit about. The answer to whether this technology is recreatable is yes. The answer further is it will take some time to refine the components of the technology to the resolution that we need to be able to do that.
I have some medical engineers who are working on this problem. Okay, we're working on building.
Great. He has some medical engineers. So when the police ask him for the names and phone numbers of the medical engineers that he has working on this system while he's soliciting donations from the public, he'll be able to provide the names of those people, right? Right? Hey, Randy, can I interview those medical engineers that were working on this Medbed scam with you? They don't exist.
A working model of one of these things. Okay. We're working on this. This isn't just a thing that we got to experience. This turns out to be a thing that I know how to replicate.
People are applauding a swindler. Isn't it great?
It's going to take a little while. It's going to take a little fun. It's going to take a little money. You don't worry about that. I don't need your money for that. I've got that money coming from somewhere else. Right? But, you know, we're going to sort that out.
Okay, so the main components that you need are computer software that you can put a DNA code and build a virtual model of, and the holographic lens projecting technology that you can project.
I'm sorry about the audio. This clown that's going to cure cancer, he only has a $5 microphone, friends.
Image of this genetic code of this
I hope he took some of that $70,000 and bought a decent microphone for himself for his next and new scams.
person out through the holographic projector. That's basically the rocket science behind this.
Yeah, this works because it turns out that two essential pieces of technology are involved that we now have. So basically,
There he's saying that he has the technology. So when the police come around and they want to see his holographic projector and his computer and his software, he'll be able to show that, right? Hey, Randy Kramer, can we see the holographic projector? Can we see the computer that doesn't exist that you claim you could just enter a DNA code in? You just said we have that. Great.
basically what you need is a computer program, you need software that can lay out a genetic code, all the TGACs.
Here's more
and
proof
then
it's a scam
build
coming.
a virtual model. All right. So basically, you put that in, you put the DNA into the computer, but once you put that information into the computer, it will build a virtual model, a little CGI person, right? That looks like what that genetic code looks like. Now, a bunch of
Doesn't
smarty
exist.
scientists from some smarty university that is escaping me at the moment. I want to say it was like some Cambridge, Stanford guys, or whatever. I don't know, some of those smart guys. 2
Here's
summers
more
ago,
proof.
They come out and they've got this software. You can put the DNA code in, and you get a rudimentary sort of CGI person that it builds. They can do whatever they want with that technology. I'm just stoked they made it because I'm going to appropriate it and use it for what I need to use it for, because I need that same software. The difference that
Yeah, and here's where it gets interesting. So he says some smart guys at Cambridge invented software that could do what he's describing. I checked in with Cambridge University. No such research has taken place. However, here he's claiming he's just going to take software from those smart guys at Cambridge University. He's just going to appropriate it. That's not how this works. You can't just steal software from a research university who's researching something. This is a swindle. This is a scam.
that I need that software for, and what I need that software to do is have cellular resolution, right? We need that like CGI image.
Science fiction terms that don't exist.
Define resolution down to the cellular level. That's the first thing.
And just a note to say that the data involved with generating a hologram down to the cellular level, it would be enormous, orders of magnitude above the computing power of every computer on Earth, in my opinion. But what do I know? I'm just a guy with a background in computer science that has been involved in the computer industry my whole life. Like, what do I know, right? No, believe the fake space marine swindler scammer instead.
The other thing we need is a holographic lens that projects a hologram. We got those. We got good ones.
Great. And here is where there's more proof of a scam coming. But interestingly, what I think is very interesting here is that a holographic lens, he's claiming he has those already. So when the police knock on his door and want to see the holographic lenses that he claimed that he had while he was begging for donations for his Medbed scam here, he'll be able to show us the holographic lenses, right? Of course not.
The Michael Jackson hologram, was it Grammys or something like that? That was a pretty good one. It's not bad. Right?
And by the way, right there, he doesn't say we have the same holographic technology that the Grammys used to generate a hologram of Michael Jackson, but he certainly implies that he has the same technology. Just listen, that would be millions of dollars of equipment and millions of dollars of technology. Do we believe that a fake space marine clown who's been running around telling super soldier stories for the past 5 years has millions of dollars worth of holographic technology or equipment? He just implied We have them. And then he mentions the Michael Jackson Grammy hologram, which, by the way, took millions of dollars worth of equipment to generate that. Again, sure signs of a scammer.
Now all we need is that lens to be able to project an image, a holographic image that also has cellular resolution.
So first he says he has the lenses. Now he says he needs a better lens.
Right? So if you have the DNA code that can then project a CGI image that's cellular resolution, then use that holographic projector to project that image, that CGI image that you just made to the cellular resolution level. You can now project the human body to the cellular level over another person's body.
Yeah,
So
I don't
if
think
you
so.
Project that holographic arm over, let's say, a stumpy arm that's been blown off. What normally when your cells reach air and they go, oh, we can't go anymore. Now they're fooled by this holographic arm and they go, oh, let's keep growing. And that's how you can regrow a limb, is by essentially projecting that holographic arm, which kind of acts as a
Yeah, listen, this is where it gets so ridiculous. So did you blow a limb off in a war? No problem. Just use our holographic medbed technology that we don't have, that doesn't exist, right? Give me lots of money, and if you've blown your arms off or legs off, or hey, what if you were born without legs or born without legs or arms? We could fix that too. Are you deaf? We could fix that. Are you blind? We could fix that. And this is where it gets personal for me. Do you have autistic children? We can cure that with our medbed technology. What a slimeball scammer. He also promised that his medbed technology could cure mental retardation in children. So if you have a child with Down syndrome or some other mental, neurological issue or problem or deficiency, hey, he can cure it. Talk about offering hope to the hopeless. You can cure blindness, cancer, leukemia, diabetes, even aging. It's absolutely ridiculous that anybody would platform this guy saying all this stuff. And by the way, I have had to sit through hours and hours and hours of this guy pitching this garbage. And these are older interviews from while the GoFundMe scam was still in operation. Not one show host challenged him on any of these claims. Not one. They just let him know his fake garbage,
if you will, or the cells to just keep growing. And like, oh yeah, let's just keep going, and there's more arm until you grow back the whole arm. It also has the ability, when you have damaged cells, they want. This is a very interesting concept, but they want to conform to that orderly pattern. So they actually will want to regenerate and restore themselves based on that harmonic, healthy pattern from the damage pattern. And that's how you have this ability to do completely non-invasive, no drugs, no surgery, reconstruction of organs, limbs, etc.
By the way, just a note, I shouldn't have to say this, but there is zero evidence that a stump or, the end of somebody's missing arm will suddenly start growing the rest of the arm because somebody placed a lattice or hologram made out of light at the end of it. This is absolutely science fiction, gobbledygook garbage. No one challenged him. They just let him swindle. They just let him sell this fake nonsense.
2 pieces of technology. We have those now as a civilian population. We have the holographic projector, and just last summer, a science team at a couple different universities managed to put together, not necessarily for the purposes that we want, but
it'll cure everything. Lunar sparkles.
Develop the computer software that you put in the genetic code, and you get a very basic building model of what that person looks like or would look like. If the technology itself, that's what we needed. We needed that technology.
Harmonic frequency resonance. The cells of your body.
NSYNC called Kramer. They want their headset back.
Example that's a perfect example, right? It's your pure genetic code. So let's say you create a holographic projection of your liver. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be healthy. It's going to be as if it was never damaged because it's going to be the perfect blueprint from your DNA code. So the holographic image of that will be an undamaged, perfect, never used liver. Now let's say maybe your actual liver not doing so good.
Yeah, and here's where it gets disgusting. Oh, are you an alcoholic? Don't worry about it. We can repair your liver with our holographic Medbed technology. Nonsense. Absolutely nonsensical. This is absolutely nonsense.
Okay? Or maybe any other reasons. I mean, you could not be a drinker and not have liver failure, right? But your organs can go bad for any reason. But if you project that perfect image over a damaged organ, dominant harmonic frequency resonance means that that organ is going to want to conform to the perfect projection. So over a period of time, those cells are just going to want to look like those healthy cells, and they're just going to change. The cell, the very raw cellular structure matching up with this image, perfect image, just wants to conform to that shape because it's a slightly solid light form being a hologram. It's a sort of three-dimensional semi-solid light.
Okay, so according to him, if you have a bad liver, we're just going to project a hologram of a perfect liver on top of your damaged liver, and your liver is just going to instantly conform and heal itself. Absolute science fiction, fantasy, gobbledygook nonsense. This guy was selling garbage, and what's more disturbing is everyone let him.
Source that the cell can pattern against and wants to be like.
Two things that we need to do with both of them.
We're back to the $5 headset.
This holographic refrigerating technology that we want is actually very simple. It is to increase the resolution of both of these technologies to the cellular level. So when we have the ability to...
Yeah, and this is science fiction nonsense too. What does that even mean? Nobody knows because he's making this up.
Software and tell that genetic code to print us out a virtual image of just like, we don't have to get the whole body. Let's just say we want a finger, but down to the cellular level of that finger. And then if we can get the holographic projector to be able to, again, it doesn't have to be able to project the entire distance of the whole body, but to be able to project a 3x3 area of a resolution that's down to that cellular level. Okay, now we've got the components that we can regrow.
Oh yeah, we're just going to regrow your liver.
That is the door into this technology, is that cellular resolution levels. Now you can regrow a finger. Now you can slowly regrow, the parts of someone's arm, because you can project the part of the arm that needs to be in front of the cell growth and allow the cell growth to slowly, match up to the holographic projection and be able to regrow limbs. A holographic dominant harmonic frequency sort of process where
holographic dominant harmonic frequency, that's a bunch of disconnected terms that don't make any sense, Randy Kramer. But don't let things like science and technology terms that are real get in the way of a good scam.
You project a perfect image. Say, my arm is damaged, it's been burnt, 3rd degree, and we project a perfect image of, my arm holographically down to the cellular level. Eventually this arm will just heal itself. It will just want to go, oh, those are the cells that we actually want to look like, and it'll fix itself. And if my arm gets blown off right here and I don't have a hand, normally when your cells reach the air, they go, oh, we can't grow anymore. Well, if you project a perfect image down to the cellular level of that hand.
Yeah, and by the way, this is taken from multiple appearances, just so everybody's aware, and it would appear that he just keeps repeating the same thing. You just project a lattice of holographic, the rest of the arm, and the arm just heals itself. Anthony Peterson, with a kind and generous $5, says, I need the portable Medbed model to help me get out of bed in the morning. I'm sure it could get me going like caffeine. Yeah, and you can age regress yourself to when you were younger and had a much, much easier time, getting out of bed, Anthony Peterson. And thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Thank you for helping us to praise the cash, Anthony Peterson.
You're watching Truthseekers. Praise the cash, praise the cash.
Thank thank you, Anthony Peterson, for your continued support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. We appreciate your kindness and generosity. And it's good to see so many people here in the live chat tonight. We want to thank all of you for joining us. If you're just now joining us, we're covering Randy Kramer's The Stolen Valor Swindler and his ridiculous Medbed Scam.
Of your arm, the cells hit the holographic projection and go, oh, we can keep growing. And it essentially fools the cells into just keep going and going all the way down to your fingertips until you've completely regrown the damaged limb.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something that you should already know, Randy Kramer. Cells can't just grow on beams of light, you idiot.
The second thing that it does is, let's say I get my arm blown off right at my elbow, which I have had a number of times, more than I can count.
Do you hear this? So he has had his arm blown off below the elbow more times than he can count. This man just claimed that he had his arm blown off more times than he can count. And that's why he learned the secret of the Medbed technology, because they kept putting him in the machine to regrow all his arms every time he blew them off. But I thought he was a super soldier, right? This makes no sense. This idiot ran around telling everybody that he had arms and legs blown off, and they just rebuilt his arms and legs each time. Countless times. More times than he can count. He had his arms blown off. Are you going to be able to prove that to the police when they knock on your door? I think you might be in for a trip to the pokey, stupid. And why would you let people record you saying this ridiculous stuff everywhere, you idiot?
More times than I can count, waking up, going, oh, which part of me got blown off this time? Right? It's not too much fun, but you don't feel it most of the time either. So I can't really say that most often the times that I had body parts blown off that I suffered a lot, because most of the time I didn't.
Oh, yeah, you get body parts blown off. You don't even feel it after a while.
I didn't hardly feel it at all. Or, you get blown apart, you lose consciousness. Pain stops, when you lose consciousness. But let us just say I get my arm blown off, cut off, right here at the elbow. Now, if I project a holographic image of this arm past this elbow, connecting up to this elbow, normally what happens, the reason your cells stop growing is they hit air, they hit oxygen.
Yeah, he keeps explaining the same thing. So
we got to stop right here. Arm's gone. It's not there. Well, this fools.
We're going to fast forward this.
No, don't stop yet.
Oh, wait a second. Here's a part where he talks about
4 or 5 days. Woo, time off.
Oh, yeah, he gets time off.
We had a holographic regenerating medbed that could do that in a matter of hours. About 4 hours. Wow. Right? Arm blown off at 10 a.m. You're cleared to go back to duty by dinner time. Okay? Yeah. No days off. No days off. You gotta get a few limbs blown off, and then you ask, when you come to, one of the first things I would always remember to ask is how long am I gonna be here for? When I get blown off, and they'll just be like, now you'll be out of here by this afternoon. Well, tomorrow afternoon. Oh, it's gonna be a while. You're gonna be here for 4 or 5 days. Woo, time off.
Yeah, celebrating getting time off because you got your arms and legs blown off. This is how ridiculous this is. And remember what he said is you can get your arm blown off at 10 a.m. and be cleared for duty by dinner time. Yeah, this isn't science fiction at all.
It's not going to take 4 hours. It's going to take longer. And we don't need to project the entire arm. Actually, only need to project enough that the arm that connect to the cells, they keep going. So you could project, let's say, like a disc that's, this thick and that round of your arm. So you don't need to project that much space to do this.
Yeah, it seems like an infomercial, paid crowd.
Sessions. So the technology that we're talking about doing will be able to grow back someone's limbs, arms, legs, whatever. But it will probably take,
let's see him blow his own arm off. I agree.
Over a period of days or weeks. But I'd say, so what? Because you're still going to get to grow people's arms and legs back. And I want to be perfectly clear. I want to be perfectly clear that as much as I would love to give
here's where it gets creepy.
Access to this technology right away.
Remember, he's a fake space marine.
People who get in line first, okay, are all the veterans who've had their arms and legs blown. I got mine back. got mine back. It's not fair.
He got
that
his
we
arms
have
and legs
technology
back.
to give theirs back, and we said, no, we don't have that, and not give them their arms and legs back when we can. I think that's bullshit. And if I have anything to say about it, I'm going to make sure they get their arms and legs back. No, don't applaud yet. Applaud when I do it. Then you can give me a rousing round of applause when it happens. Until then, just be hopeful and like go Randy, right? Like, go team and we'll get it done.
So nice that a fake Marine is going to give real Marines who were injured in battle and had their arms and legs blown off, give them back their arms and legs with his Medbed technology. And if you want to help make that happen, you just have to donate money to him, right? It's despicable. Absolutely despicable. This clown did this.
So basically, we're talking about the ability to cure and restore any cellular biological process.
Here's where it says it can cure any disease.
In a matter of hours or days.
Oops.
Anything. In fact,
it cures
things like
anything.
leukemia, that's going to be easier stuff. Like the hardest things are going to be growing back limbs. That's going to take the most time to rebuild new tissue. Anytime you just have to like tell old tissue to like get better, like that happens pretty quickly. So anytime you're dealing with tissue that's already there, you're going to be able to clean that up in no time.
Yeah, curing cancer is easy according to him. And thank you, Tim Frick, for a kind and generous $5 super chat. Says this guy is an a-hole. Yes. Have you ever looked into Andy Pirro? I contacted him while he was in jail here in New Jersey. He got out and went to Texas and killed a woman. On my list, actually, Tim Frick, and I thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. And as always, for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Thank you, Tim Frick. I will raise him on the list. If you want to see a show about him, I'll do it. Let me know. I have looked into him a little bit, but not enough to do the whole show. So we can revisit that. And when you kind and generous show supporters show your support and ask me to cover something, I raise it in my list of priorities, and I will do that for you. Let's get back to Stolen Valor Swindler.
Give us a wild cocktail of drugs. Mostly drugs considered physical performance drugs. So your liver would go out about every 5 to 6 weeks. And so you would get regular, testing to see how your liver was doing. And then when it would be about time that your liver is about to go out, they would say, no, your numbers are down. You got to come in and get your liver reconditioned.
Yeah, just get your liver reconditioned.
In some cases, you could go out in an afternoon or a day of combat, and depending on how much you were, we had these injectors inside the suits that would go right into your leg. So depending on how much you're getting, you could knock out your kidneys or your liver in an afternoon or in a day. The drugs were that intense and were that physically damaging. But they have, again, this is the technology to fix this like that. So, sure, we're going to ruin your
yeah, give Lieutenant Dan his legs back. Come on.
Instead of little children who need organ transplants.
Oh, here's where it gets creepy too.
Store their organs to full functionality, and they could live, a full healthy life like that. So this technology.
Yeah. Do you have children that need an organ transplant? Don't worry about it. My Medbed technology can fix that. Despicable. And this is who this guy is preying on to donate to his Medbed scam. Desperate, sick people and their families.
Most exciting to me because we're this close.
Yeah, this is years ago. He was this close. So where's the Medbeds, Randy? Where's the Medbeds? Can we see them? Can we see the engineers? Can I look at the source code for the software you're claiming that you have, or you're stealing from those smart guys at Cambridge? Can we see the computers, the holographic projectors? Can we see anything? What happened to all the money that you took from people, Randy Kramer, for this nonsense? You're this close?
We're this close to being able to actually make it a reality.
Yeah, Star Trek. That's where Medbeds come from.
Being able to make this technology a reality means being able to do away with archaic, dark ages medical technology that we live in right now.
Yeah, and by the way, all of the medical people in the world, all the doctors, all the nurses, all the researchers, all the professors of medical science in the world aren't going to bring us this incredible medical technology. Do you know who is? A guy who was a high school drama guy who lied and said he was a Marine Corps member, who lied and said he was a Navy SEAL, who lied and said he was, fighting space battles on Mars. He's going to bring us this incredible technology. You just need to donate money to him. All those professors and doctors all over the world, those are idiots. They're in the dark ages of medical technology. They don't have what he has because it doesn't exist.
And actually enter the 21st, 22nd century by bringing real modern futuristic medical technology to our civilization, which would bring us up to par and up to match with the other intergalactic civilizations who don't cut people's arms off, tear people open to replace organs, and give people drugs.
Yeah. So essentially how this scam is working is he's claiming he has access to alien technology. And for a price, he's going to share it with humanity and save everybody that's deaf, everybody that's blind, everybody that's got cancer or leukemia or diabetes, has a failing organ, is missing limbs, has autism. He's going to cure everything. Just give him money. That old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, what medical problems can this treat? Oh, it cures everything. He literally said it cured everything on the GoFundMe text body.
To fix things, they have this technology because it's cheaper, faster, less invasive, less traumatic. It just works better, costs less money. So we're talking about the ability, once we have this technology developed, it's not even going to be the cost of one MRI, you can build 50 of these, medical regenerating beds. The cost difference is staggering. So
yeah, that's crazy too. So he just said that for the cost of one MRI machine, let's see, what does an MRI, let's just fact check them. Oh, I got an MRI machine price list here. Let's see, what is the MRI price list? Oh, this is not going to be easy. Let me refine my search. We'll come back to that. I'll put what is the average cost of an MRI machine. Yeah, a machine costs about $1 million. So what did he say? We can build 50. This is where it gets ridiculous. So for $1 million, he can build 50 med beds, right? That means, all right, we're gonna do some quick math here. Yeah, so I don't know. You do the math. He claims that for $1 million, he can build 50 med beds that do all of this stuff. I call bullshit.
What you would get cost benefit wise changes this ever burdening medical system that's becoming this increasing percentage of GDP every year. And we can go from an increasing, we're almost up to 20% GDP as our healthcare costs. We can crank that right back down into single digits with a technology that's faster, easier, and less expensive, and cures everything. Blindness, deafness, limbs that are damaged, limbs that are gone, organs that are damaged, neurological diseases, genetic disorders. It would absolutely fix and cure every single thing, even the things that our modern medical science can't affect or touch or do anything about right now. And it would be cheaper and more cost effective and faster. Easily doable.
Cheaper.
You just have to conform the projected image to that. So if you just want the projected image of your 30-year-old body and you are in treatments for that, long enough,
Yeah, and here's where it gets into age regression too. So if you're 90 years old and you want to have a 30-year-old body again, his Medbed technology can do that too. Send me some money. You could be 30 again. Ridiculous.
As it takes to sort of do that, yeah, you can restore all your cells to, you know, when you were 30 or 18 if you really wanted to. Yeah, essentially you can take all of this ridiculous industry around rejuvenation, you know, creams and techniques and things, and actually do something that works on a cellular level. And so instead of, you know, convincing people that they need to buy more creams, you actually just have a technology that works. Yeah, this would also be the gateway to
as well as stolen valor fraud.
This is really, I think,
it's important to note that he's telling people he can essentially cure everything, and that's really ridiculous.
Opportunity, because we can really get away from this transhumanist sort of thing where we think that we need to make robots and then transport ourselves into robot bodies because that's how we can live forever. Well, with this technology, you can keep rejuvenating your physical body for centuries. So we could start living for centuries just based on the ability to keep rejuvenating our bodies on a regular basis.
Again, talk about over-promising and under-delivering. This man apparently took $60,000 or $70,000 from the public, claiming that you could live to be hundreds of years old. Yeah, $20,000. Thank you, Mark Tirana. I'm terrible at basic math. Well, I'm terrible at all math, but I don't know why. I just couldn't figure it out. I'm like, why is my calculator not working? So according to Randy Kramer, you can build one of these med beds for $20,000, right? Yeah, does it cure delusions? That's a good point, right? This is so ridiculous that this man ran around and said these things in public.
So we don't need to go into robot bodies. We can use this holographic regenerating technology to just live for centuries. The sort of tool.
Donate money to me and you'll be able to live for centuries with my technology. Sure.
However, in order for the tool to be used at its fastest acceleration, they do pump in some raw fluids and some raw aminos into the physical areas so your body can reconstruct faster. If they didn't do that, it would just take your body a lot longer to continue to rebuild and regrow those cells one at a time. So to accelerate that process, they do pump some extra fluids into it.
Yeah, let's just pump some extra fluid in there and regrow whole limbs.
We expect it as a technology that if someone else isn't willing to bring to us, we'll get to eventually. We'll bring it to everyone eventually, because it's not that hard, and you sort of
it's not that hard.
It works, and I really just
you hear that? It's not that hard to cure every illness known to man, to extend human lifespans to hundreds of years old, to age regress 90-year-old people to be 18, to cure deafness, blindness, autism, mental retardation in children, diabetes, leukemia, Parkinson's disease, and everything else that ails the human species. It's not that hard. Great.
Time, money, and engineers to put on the project and make it happen. I know people who are very excited about the project, and as soon as I can afford to pay them salaries, they will be working 24/7, 365 to make it happen. So yeah.
Well, he did collect $70,000, so I'd like to see a list of people he hired and what he did with that money, right? Allegedly, he collected $70,000.
Yeah, I would say that the fact that you still have an energetic hand or an energetic body in there is, you know, maybe why your hand's going to still regrow down there, but we're basically just using an external crutch, if you will, or an external augmentation of that essentially takes over something. I mean, if you were enlightened enough to go, oh, my energy body is still there, I'm just going to regrow my arm, then you could. But if you're not quite there, then, you know, it's a piece of technology that's not, we got this, we'll do it.
Yeah, if you're unable to regrow your limbs just by thinking about it, you need my technology, which will help you, right? This dude got Corey No Good, Perez, what's his face, Flimsy Stick, Wilcock, all of them. I know, I could not believe when I was finding all these clips. You know, I could not believe that he said all this stuff in public. And these are all public YouTube videos. These are all public videos, all of them.
It's not as rocket surgery as some people might think it is. And so the two basic components of that technology to make it work are a computer software that essentially you can enter in a genetic code and it will create a CGI model of that genetic code,
Yeah.
which some
Why
smart
doesn't he regrow
university
his hair?
scientists did a couple years ago. Crudely, it's not the resolution that we would require, but that software has been created. So I can tell you from a development standpoint, not having to start at square one and develop that software from the get-go, basically being able to adapt someone who's already made that software and just focus on getting better resolution, that's a much more doable task. That's something that, you know, we can sort of predict a time span.
Yeah, and first of all, the software he's describing does not exist currently. And I asked around, and not to my knowledge, I even know somebody who does work on medical software, and he was like, "What are you asking me? This is ridiculous, Stephen." And I said, "I know." But he's essentially claiming here that he's just going to take software that is amazing and probably would be worth $1 billion. He's just going to take their software and use it for his project. That's not how any of this works. If somebody spent millions or billions of dollars developing software, they're just not going to hand it over to a fake space marine clown swindler to use. You know, first of all, the software that he's describing doesn't even exist. Second of all, if it did exist, they're not just going to give it to him. He would have to buy it. He would have to reimburse them for all their development costs, all the salaries they paid the software developers. This is nonsense.
Once we can dedicate time engineers, you know, to that task, we expect within a certain time frame of years, not decades, that we'll have solutions.
Well,
for
it's
the
been years
resolution
now. I
we
guess
need
he's
for that
done. He's got Medbeds
The
now.
other component essentially is a holographic projecting lens. And we have those. We have pretty good holographic projectors.
Yeah, it's not rocket
what we
surgery.
don't have is something that can project.
Shut up, Mark Tirana.
resolution of
Have some
cellular light. I'm
respect.
going to tell you right now that
Have some respect. He's a space hero. He's a Navy SEAL. He's a U.S. Marine, active duty service member, special section.
90% of any of the company, 99% of any company or engineers that tried to undertake that task without knowing a couple other secrets that you need to know about the configuration of that holographic lens, believe me, they are not going to be able to replicate the technology from just those two things. But
yeah, and here is where it gets into the scam. Well, I had access to these medical technologies while I was a space marine. So anybody else that tries to do this, they're not going to be able to do it, but I am. So send me money. Send me money. I'll be able to do it. It's been years. Where's the med beds, Randy? What did you do with the money?
once you understand the special properties about that lens that need to be special, and you can get the resolution that you need, and you have the computer program that gets you the resolution you need, then you're basically able to project a very, very small, high resolution image and recode a very, very high density area in a very small space, and so you're able to make very, very small, high resolution adjustments about that size. So then you can start to rebuild, a finger, start to build, an arm slowly in a little spiral as comes around. So it's a very slow process at this point because you're working on very, very tiny parts of the body. But that's
yes, Amazon
we did it.
headphones.
From that point in the technology.
Shut up, XXX. This dude is going to cure cancer. He's going to cure leukemia. He's going to regrow limbs. He's going to cure diabetes, deafness, blindness, autism, and everything else. He's going to cure everything. Shut up. So what if he has $10 Amazon headphones? Shut up. He's a space hero. Have some respect.
Technology to get more precise, better, bigger spread, more power, a higher powered computer to give you, more coding per image that you can make per second, per centimeter, and all these issues that you have to think about in the engineering. And then essentially you've got the ability to restore any damaged
the
organ.
Software exists on PC games, yes.
Fix the cellular structure, chemical structure of any body. So
yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Heavy metal poisoning, every kind of bacteria toxicity, blah, 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 could all be straightened out. Damaged organs of any kind can be completely restored. And the big one is, of course, the Rosetta Stone of medicine, regrowing limbs.
Oh yeah,
modern
it's going to
medicine
regrow
is
all
yet
those
to be able
limbs.
to, say, well, we can put a limb back on that's been blown off. I mean, we're great with prosthetics, and we're just going to get better and better with prosthetics if that's what we focus on. But I think we can just grow stuff back, and it's actually
He
cheaper,
should have
faster,
it.
easier, to be honest.
Should have it.
There's less time, energy, resources, and dollars that would go into regrowing someone's arm than building a robot arm for that person and putting a robot arm on them. So,
all right, he just said that it's cheaper to just regrow people's limbs than it is to just to just build a prosthetic or robot arm. How many times did his head blow off? I don't know. And yes, dollar store microphone. The man who's going to cure cancer and leukemia and everything else in the world, all he can afford is a dollar store microphone.
So in the end, and it turns out that when you've done all of that, and this is things that I know from what we know about the med beds that the military gets from the contractors that they contract for, and the ones that they build themselves, that we're not allowed to have one, but I'm allowed to take what I know and make one. That's the loophole, right?
Here's some more accusations towards the U.S. military. He's claiming that the U.S. military has these med beds in their possession, but we're not allowed to have them. But he's going to bring us normal people this technology. And this is where it gets ridiculous, because if the U.S. military really had these, wouldn't they use it on Biden or some of these other rich, powerful, elite people to age regress them so they're not like half dead? Wouldn't Bill Gates have access to it? Wouldn't, so he's not like a fat slob that looks like terrible? Wouldn't, I don't know, the Rothschilds have them? Wouldn't like Christopher Mellon have one? His family's loaded, Mellon banking family. So this idea that these things exist and they're being withheld, it doesn't make any sense, because rich, powerful, elite people die all the time. If these things existed, the rich, the powerful, the ruling class would have access to them. They don't. That's how you know it's garbage.
Materials costs, what goes into it. You're talking about an end product that is less than a quarter of the cost of an MRI machine. Something that
no, before he said you could build 50 of these for the cost of an MRI machine. Now he's saying they're less than the quarter of one. Great.
Going to be able to create for a fraction of the cost of an MRI machine, and that can fix anything over a period of time. Then you
see, this is how you know he's a liar. Liars forget the lies. So previously he said that he could build 50 of these med beds for the cost of one MRI machine. Somebody here did the math, and that turned out to be 20 MRI machines for $1 million. Now he's saying it's less than a quarter of the price of an MRI machine, which would be $250,000. How could he make such an amateur hour stupid mistake? He's a liar. That's how he made this mistake. He forgot what he said in a previous, in a previous appearance pumping this Medbed scam. He forgot the previous lies. And so was he lying there or is he lying here? He was lying both times, if you ask me, because he's a liar.
Start to be able to address everything that's the most serious, everything that's the most critical. Obviously, terminal children's medicine and organ transplants for children and so forth. But eventually you get to a place where not only can you fix everything, but cellular regeneration for life extension is just not even complicated at that point.
So essentially he can cure all childhood diseases, right? He can cure all childhood diseases, and he could age regress you so you could be young again. Is it sounding too good to be true yet? It is to me.
When you're done with all of that research and development, this very, very low cost medical solution that fixes everything.
Fixes
when
everything.
you start to look at the entire medical structure of here are the problems, here are the costs and solutions for those problems, and what those charts sort of look like. And when you can make all of that go away and go, here's a stack of problems, and they can all be dealt with this one thing that costs this much, then all the medical problems are dealt with a GDP that's like this, instead of one that's going to break our spine if it gets up to 23%. It's essentially, we feel that pharmacology,
23%.
surgery,
Right?
prosthetics,
Yeah, exactly.
dead end. It's a dead end of medical technology, in the sense that if you just keep going down that road, the cost, the exponential cost of those things versus the benefit, it just outweighs, and it becomes completely pointless to continue to pursue that kind of medical technology. So we think at some point you just have to go, we're not doing leeches anymore, and we're going to do this instead, and just transitioning to something that's way
we're not gonna
better
do
and
leeches.
cheaper and more effective. And
Leeches exist,
everything.
though.
The
At least
parts and the
leeches
components
exist.
that we're going to need to put together, and how they need to be put together. What we're mostly waiting for at the moment is to resolve some other projects to get paid for, so that we can put money in the
Let's
Actually,
regenerate Jimmy Church's
what it just comes down
personality.
to is,
Yes.
when we're able to get paid for a few other things that we're working
It's harder
on,
to remember a
we will
lie
be
than the
able to
truth.
actually hire
Absolutely,
engineers.
Way.
And that's really where, when I hire 5 engineers and I say, here's your job, here's what we're doing, and we go over everything that I know and that then get to teach them, and as we research what we know in the public sphere. And
he just said he was going to hire 5 engineers. I'd love to see their resumes, and I'd love to see their job applications with you, and I'd love to interview those engineers you hired, because you took a lot of money from the public. Where's the people you hired, Randy?
we start to break down all that information like a team of engineers would. So at this point, we're like waiting for the funding to come from something else that we're waiting.
That's how I feel
we don't
about it.
expect that that's going to be 5 years down the road. We expect within 24 months that I will have engineers working on the process.
Bob Lazar's a
We
rocket
expect
scientist
less
in
than a
comparison
decade
to
to have
this
a
clown.
functional
Yes.
model that can pass muster and work on a person. These things will happen within a number of years, because let's just say we're in what I would say are the very early stages of all of the research and development of this technology and other technologies to make them a reality and to make them happen. So
now, again, it's inconsistencies. He said we're this close. We're this close to making this a reality. That's what he said in a previous appearance on a podcast. On this podcast, he said we're just in the beginning stages. This appearance is after the other one. So how was he this close, and now he's just in the beginning stages of the research for it? He's covering himself for when he doesn't produce anything.
The fact that we know that these two technologies exist, we just have to refine the resolution of,
those 2 technologies he described do not exist. And I challenge him to show me working prototypes of either of those technologies, either 3D hologram generators that can generate holograms down to a cellular level, or a computer that can input DNA and all of these magical things he's describing. They do not exist. He keeps saying these 2 things already exist. We just have to put them together, but they don't exist.
I've already had conversations with engineers, software engineers, and technical engineers on, where's the starting point for understanding these technologies.
I'm pretty sure that's a cannabis vape pen, and he's been hitting it way too much. Just saying.
And getting the better resolution out of, which is where you have to start. So we're going to get this stuff done in a matter of years. So I don't think that we have no intention of partnering with people who are going to drag.
He's directing engineers. Yeah.
I've learned from watching people try and integrate and bring other technologies into the civilian world. For example,
lives in a homeless shelter. No, we'll get into that.
Generator. It's one of the most amazing electron pumps, energy-saving devices that he got a patent for. It's out there. It should be being able to be mass manufactured by now, but watching how his progress has been hampered by all of these industries who either didn't really understand the project or had interest in wanting to make the project go forward, and how that's taken something that should have been in production back in 2000.
Yes, please smash the like button. It really does help.
Patent on it, instead of over 10 years later.
By the way, I tried to look up the patent that he's describing here. I wasn't able to find it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but given the likelihood, given the amount of lies that this guy tells, it's very likely that he's just making stuff up here about somebody else. He's trying to compare, well, I know somebody who got a patent and is going to market, and yeah, bull.
And still not having a mainline production model of an electron pump that's the size of a bread box that can pump out 10 kilowatts. You know, we could be done and off the grid with the MEG if that had just gone, if they'd been.
Oh, now he's promising free energy along with curing literally every disease in the world. Now he's promising free energy is a good, you know, byproduct of his technology. Sure it is.
Able to go forward. So learning the lessons of not partnering with people who are going to not make your idea go faster. We've made sure to only talk with the people who are willing to give unattached resources to make this stuff happen, who are also very motivated to see this stuff happen and are not, seeing the same all. So
it sounds like he's giving this interview while he's riding Space Mountain at Disneyland.
We're being
dollar microphone Randy Kramer. That's what I'm going to call him from now on.
Very specific to make sure that we're not going to be hampered in any way, and that when I have the people who are in,
I doubt he's directing engineers.
The smartest people that are trying to do this work.
Oh, he's getting smart people to help
and
him.
We actually have the funding to make sure that we can pay them salaries, for a number of years so that they can work on this. And I am definitely having the conversations with the people who can make all of that happen. More than one person who's very, very interested in making that happen. So
20 and wax.
I have no doubt that even if we don't get the funding that we need through those channels, that there are other things that are happening that will start to produce long-term funding within the next couple of years that I know would also be able to let that work out. It's really just a matter of if funding comes from source A, B, or C, whether we're talking about whether I have a working model in 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. So
yeah, and here there's claims that $100,000 US was happily invested by Rainbow Light Being from Pot of Gold YouTube channel. So first somebody said, oh, I invested 50,000, then it was 60,000. Now the claim is 100,000 was invested. So I'm a little suspicious of that person who keeps claiming they're investing all this money.
So it's just going to be a matter of where the money comes from the fastest. And I guarantee it's going to happen because I'm motivated to make it happen over.
Oh, he's guaranteeing this Medbed technology is going to happen. Just give him money. This is a couple of years ago. Where's the Medbeds, Randy?
So it's like it's going to happen, or they're going to have to kill me and make it not happen. But I'm pretty motivated.
Oh, you're going to have to kill him to make it not happen. And why did he give up on the Medbed scam? Oh, that's right. The GoFundMe got taken down, right? But apparently he got to keep the $10,000 that the GoFundMe generated.
Sure, that happens because I'm as sick and tired and fed up as anybody else of people continuing to tell and convince me that, well, you don't have any other options, so we have to rip your body open and replace your spine with, these plastic parts, or we have to tear you open and replace you with this,
Yeah, he knows better than every doctor in the world, right? Just give him money.
Boone organ, or you're just going to die, or you're just going to have to suffer, or you're never going to walk again. I'm as fed up as anybody as hearing Dark Ages answers to 21st century questions. We should have 21st century solutions to 21st century questions, not dark answers.
Yeah.
So
he's going to bring us 21st century solutions, and he's got a dollar store microphone.
I'm incredibly motivated to make that technology happen because I think it's a game changer in every sense of the word, and could just be the difference between the old civilization and the new civilization.
So there we have it. He's going to bring us the new civilization. I beg to differ, right? Do I think there is a SSP? Yes, I do believe that there's a secret space program, but it's nothing like these fantastical fairy tale tellers provide. or describe. One can just look to something like the X-37B, which is a secret drone space shuttle that spends years in orbit, and we're not allowed to know what it does. That alone is proof that there is indeed a secret space program. There is substantial and supportive evidence of other secret space programs, including spy satellites and more. We don't know what it is they have. I do believe there is a secret space program, but do I believe that people are battling, Martian aliens? No, there's no evidence for that. And further, anybody with a telescope would be able to see activity on the surface of Mars that some of these fake secret space program people talk about. We don't see that. And there's a reason we don't see that, because it does not exist, in my opinion. Just like I don't believe there's secret moon bases on the dark side of the moon. The whole moon has been imaged. It would be a tremendous conspiracy if everyone was lying to us. Now, every astronomer, all the amateur astronomers in the world, I guess they're all just lying to us as well, right? Yes, X-37B alone is proof of a secret space program, right? And Wesley says, everybody gets fed up when the doctor gives you bad news, but imaginary miracle cures don't exist. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And here's what's really troubling about this is that this man who lied about being a Marine, who then lied about being, also lied about being a Navy SEAL, ran around and told all these lies and collected, at least that we know of, $10,000 from the GoFundMe, because the GoFundMe listed $10,000 raised. Now, there's been various claims by this YouTube channel, which for all we know is Randy shilling, pretending to be a big donor to encourage other people to donate to the scam. It's very common that scammers use those sort of tactics. So until I see canceled checks or bank transfer information proving that this woman gave Randy Kramer $60,000 or $100,000, I can't speak on that. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. There are what the grifters call whales in the UFO community. And what's a whale? A whale is a big donor, somebody that's got tons of money and doesn't mind sharing a lot of money with the grifters. People like David Wilcock, Corey Good, the big donors are called whales. Maybe she's one of those kind of people and really believed Randy was going to bring this Medbed technology. So she donated $60,000, who knows? I would like to talk. I try to reach out to her, but there's no email address or any way to contact them listed on that YouTube channel. And it's now pretty much a defunct YouTube channel. Yeah, YouTube makes 30% off of scammers. Yeah, it's great. Sad and disgusting, says Not My Rabbit Hole. And I agree with you. I am equal parts disgusted and sort of sad. This person is claiming all kinds of things, including that he can regrow limbs for people missing limbs, cure paralysis, cancer, even aging. Pardon me. All right, so the presentation is not complete. I've got a few more things to share with you, and we want to get this all done and out of the way tonight, because first of all, as evidenced by the attendance tonight, no, there's that much about Randy Kramer, so we don't want to waste any more time on him than we have to. And also, I'm disgusted enough by this slimeball, scumball, scammer that I don't want to waste any more time on him. I've got one more video to share and a blog post from researcher Richard Cole with sort of an update on serial scammer Randy Kramer, and we'll be sharing those when I return. We just want to take a moment to remind you that we are a viewer-supported show and let you know how you can help support the show. Interesting that Randy Kramer might have made $70,000 lying to people. It's nice, however, that people will support me to show people the truth behind these scams, scammers, and various cosmic con artists. And we truly appreciate your help and assistance to keep us investigating these clowns and exposing them. Here's Ian to let you know how you can help.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month, you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like, and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat group during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.
Okay, welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing the stolen valor swindler, Randy Kramer, fake Marine, fake Navy SEAL, and apparently fake medical device creator. So what we're going to do is we have just a little bit more in our presentation. We want to get it all out of the way. This is something from the Goldfish report, and I'm going to have to contact the Golden Probe Awards because we have to give an award to the stupidest show host I've ever seen in my life. All she is here to do, this Goldfish report person, is help Randy Kramer sell this scam. It's very obvious that that's her function here. Absolutely ridiculous that this woman helped Randy Kramer sell this scam. Let's get into it. We're going to see a little bit of the introduction, and then I'm specifically interested in what he has to say about his Medbed devices curing autism. Let's get into it, friends.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Goldfish Report. I'm your host, Louisa. And today with me, I have my co-host from our Country Roads
Another woman with
reports,
a dollar
Winston
microphone.
Trout. We have Winston co-hosting with me today. How are you, Winston?
Doing okay.
And everyone knows our next guest he's a U.S. Marine Corps Special Section 20 and Back program, Captain Randy Kramer. And Randy is here to talk about some very interesting technology.
I love how she just says he's in the Marines. Hey, honey, did you check on his records? Because we did, and he was never in the Marines, you dummy. So you just said he was in the Marines. Congratulations, you're an idiot.
Called Medbeds. Welcome back to the Goldfish Report, Randy. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, Louisa.
That's great. Well, Randy, we've heard a lot about these med beds, and I know that you have personal experience with this. And many viewers have contacted us as a result of this conversation coming up in previous reports.
By the way, I didn't put my fair use banner up, so let's do that. This is fair use. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public about medbed scams and fake stolen valor frauds like Randy Cramer.
And they wanted to get more information, and this is perfect timing for us to do this report. You have a program, you have personal experience with this. First, can you tell us about a little bit about your personal experience with this and how you got into the program that you have going, and we're going to share that with our viewers as well.
Yeah, and by the way, she shares everything, including the GoFundMe links to help this scammer get donations. Brilliant, lady, brilliant.
Sure. Well, when I was in the MDF,
MDF, the Mars Defense Force, great.
It's the Mars Defense Force, and spent a number of years there getting my arms and legs and various body parts blown apart on a pretty regular basis. It certainly would have been a short career if they didn't have the technology to patch.
So again, he's making claims that he was on Mars and he was routinely getting his arms and legs blown off. Awesome.
Back up in an amazingly incredible way. And so the ability at that level, and we're not talking about like what we could introduce to the general public to be the same evolved and developed technologies that we were using, but we're definitely talking about the same technology that can do the same thing, just not as fast, not as efficiently.
He's got the same technology as the aliens, right? It's just not quite as fast.
So when I say that we were able to restore arms and legs within, depending on the amount of damage, sort of cubic centimeters of damage, you're talking about hours or days at the most. With
hours or days to regrow blown off limbs. Awesome.
The technology that we're going to be introducing, it's going to take longer to restore tissue. They're going to have to do sessions with people where they're going to have to be in the machine or act part of the machine is over them for a certain number of hours, if every day or daily or several times a day over a period of weeks to really restore like an arm that's been removed or a leg that's been blown out. But we'll still be able to do it. So the fact that it will take much longer and be a little more tedious of a process as we get out the gate than the advanced technologies that we use is just the difference between technology that's been developed for decades versus technology that in the civilian world we're essentially having to develop from the ground up, which
this is another inconsistency because earlier he was talking about the technology being able to, you could get your arm blown off at 10 a.m. and by dinner time you were cleared for duty again. But maybe he was talking about the military technology and his is slower. Who knows?
The reason we have to do that is because of this wall of classifications, Espionage Act, et cetera, which means that no one can hand me a blueprint, no one can hand me a schematic, no one can hand me a prototype, no one can hand me a component. But
well, there's a loophole. He'll still be able to develop the technology if we give him enough money. Here's how.
If I understand how those things work, there are people who I can get advice from asking specific questions. They can't necessarily, again, hand the information to me, but if I understand the information and the component well enough to ask the right questions, I will always be able to get a correct answer so that when I say...
I like how the next section is it criminal to deny this technology? Well, I don't know about that, but it's criminal to accept donations for this technology that doesn't exist and then spend all the money and have nothing to show anybody after you spent all the money.
You know, we have enough information to develop this. We do. But it is also in puzzle pieces that we have to put together, because this wall of classification is designed to do just exactly what it's doing, which is prevent the quick, easy, fast access of this technology into the civilian world. So
exactly, again, here we are again with him claiming this technology already exists and the rich and the ruling class have access to this technology. Then explain to me why Rothschilds die, right? Explain to me how rich, powerful, elite people all over the world die all the time. He can't. If this technology truly existed, people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and others that are rich and powerful would not age, yet they do.
We accept that. We accept that obstacle. We accept that it's not going to happen fast. We accept that it's not going to be quick. We accept that it's not going to be easy. And we accept that it's not going to be a full component modeled device that we can just use, that we're going to have to put the pieces together. But I can assure you, I understand the components very well. And the two main components.
Yeah, he understands the components that do not exist very well.
Are software and hardware. The software, luckily, someone else already took some time to develop the early software. And so.
Great. So Randy Kramer, when the cops knock on your door, you'll be able to tell the cops who developed the software and how you acquired it, right? Because you said you were just going to acquire it somehow. Again, ridiculous nonsense, fantasy fairy tales from Randy Kramer.
We're already looking at the modeling of that software and talking about problem solving to get it to be the software that we need it to be. We've already looked at the hardware components of what need to be part of the device, the functional parts of the device that are the most critical. And we know that the basic functions of those hardware components, the basic place where industry sort of has the efficiency and precision of those components, and then at what point we're picking that up and moving to the level of precision and, you know, that we need. And sort of what.
Yeah, he's just going to buy off-the-shelf components and build holographic medbed regenerating technology from off-the-shelf components, apparently.
Amazing.
And from using stolen software somebody else developed somehow.
Frequencies, wavelengths, and sort of picometers, turns out we're measuring in that we're going after. And this is the part where I start getting really tight-lipped, because I've talked to my chief and my software engineers enough to know to not talk too much more about our proprietary process and where we're going from there.
Okay, so he's got to stay tight-lipped about this, because his chief engineer and his software engineer told him not to talk too much about it. So I guess when the police want to talk to your software engineer and talk to your chief engineer, Randy Kramer, you'll be able to give them the names. Or how about me? Can I interview your chief software engineer or your chief engineer? Right? Yeah. How come Medbeds doesn't cure eating too many carbs on him? Yeah, a little fat, but I can't say much. I got to lose 10 pounds, B. Baker. Ridiculous. This guy is got him and his imaginary team. His imaginary friends are developing medbed technology. Can we talk to any of them, Randy Kramer? Of course not. He won't.
Okay.
But satisfied to say that there's a couple of components. I've had them used on me so many times that, you know, I have all my digits where they weren't many, many times over.
Well, it looks good. The arms look, you know, like they function.
Yeah.
They're
not too bad at the moment.
real, and
Again, with the claims that he's had his arms and legs blown off countless times and regenerated, while he's soliciting public donations in a GoFundMe scam. This is pure fraud.
Yeah.
So it does a good job. I mean, it really is complete. It looks very, very, thorough. Like,
look at this. This lady's so stupid. Oh yeah, your arms and legs look great for being regenerated ones. This is very good. Good technology, Randy Kramer.
Yeah. If it only healed the psychological and emotional trauma of having your body blown apart and ripped apart, several thousand times, which it doesn't at all.
He just said that he's had his body blown apart and ripped apart several thousand times. It's getting deep in here.
Doesn't
Deep.
at all. So that's my own thing that I have to deal with.
Right.
But you know, that's okay because I can at least have the positive outlook of, you know, I got all my fingers, my toes, and everything. So.
Right. I mean, look at these guys that come back from these wars, and they're, you know, they're sadly, they're walking around. Some aren't even walking. I mean, but they're in Walter Reed, but they're trying to rehabilitate with their prosthetics and all that stuff. And that's, you know, and that's tough. You know, that's really tough too. So it's,
Yeah, it is tough. And you know what's tougher? An idiot like you helping Randy Kramer scam people like that with fake technology that doesn't exist and taking donations, you dumb woman. I'm sorry, but how can this woman be this stupid? You know, it's like that old saying from George Carlin, you know, think about how stupid some people are and then realize that they're stupider even than that. Yeah.
It's really a shame to deny them this technology. I mean, you know, I'm sure Winston has seen it too, but.
Well, I think we could go a step further, and I think it's criminal, to be honest with you. I think denying them
the criminal thinks it's criminal to deny the technology that doesn't exist to service members. By the way, deny that technology to real veterans and real service members, not fake Marines or fake Navy SEALs like this clown.
Access to technology which is commensurate with their dedication of life of service, that, you know, there's a justification there, both civil, legal, and moral, that it's a criminal violation actually to deny them the level of care which could completely change the quality of their lives, and make the difference between functional and just not functional at all. And even people who become functional with the handicaps of losing arms and legs, it's never going to be the same, you know, as how you could function with
Yeah,
them.
great. So this guy's
So
grifting off of people.
Yeah, we
grifting off of people that lost arms and legs in wars. Grifting off of people who lost arms and legs in wars. All right, and we're going to skip ahead. I'm very interested to share with you. For those unaware, most of you, I believe, are aware, but in case you're not, I have a son who is autistic, severely autistic. He is nonverbal autistic is what it's called. And it's a very debilitating condition. It's very difficult. He requires 24 hours, 7 days a week, attention and care. It's very difficult both on him and on our family. Autism is something that I wouldn't wish on even my worst enemy. It is really the most challenging and difficult thing in my life. I love my son. I hate autism. My son is unable to communicate his problems, desires, needs, because he's nonverbal, which means he has many meltdowns and gets upset very easily or agitated. He has sensory issues, so even things like loud noises or too many people inside a store or too much sensory input at once can set him off. And you know, I'm not going to explain all of autism to you, but it's enough to say that it is a tremendous burden both on the person that has it and on the family members caring for that person. So Randy Kramer, stolen valor fraud swindler, is not just promising that he's going to cure cancer or regrow limbs for people who had their limbs blown off. He's not just promising he's going to cure blindness or deafness. In this interview, in a few moments here, you're gonna cue it up to that. He claims that his Medbed technology can cure autism and mental retardation in children. Let's get to that.
You know, it doesn't matter how old you get. We don't want you to look younger than that because you won't look in the mirror and see the right person.
I hear he's talking about age
You'll see
regression.
someone who's younger and less experienced.
The next section, he talks about autism.
And you'll identify with that person in the mirror
Slime ball.
more than you might identify with the age that you actually are. And as an example, and as a perfect example to that, when I was restored
sorry to hear that.
back to 17 years old and put back in, you know, a position and a time space.
It's a very difficult thing to deal with.
Oh, what? I'm 17 again. I look in the mirror, I see a 17-year-old, and this is where I was when I was 17. what do? I identify myself that way. Now, I struggled with that, right? Of course, like, wait, am I really this age? Why do I feel older? Why do I not feel the age I'm supposed to be? I mean, it was a struggle, but I still identified with who I looked in the mirror and who was looking back at me. Okay. So you will identify with that person. And so we don't want to use it for cosmetic purposes to make people younger than they really are, because it fucks people. Sorry. That's just what
yeah. Oh, he's
question.
he's gonna age regress.
Would this technology have any benefit to victims, for instance, of autism?
Now, that's an interesting question. And some of that is going to definitely come up to the actual mapping of the DNA.
Well, a lot of our autism has been caused by all of these vaccinations that are forced upon babies.
Right, and some of that,
I'm sure parents are going to be very concerned about that.
Right, and some of it does affect genetics and affects the DNA. And so the question then becomes, how has the DNA been affected in such a way that we can then either change, and in some cases, you know, these are changes that cause the amygdala to develop differently and so forth. So the question becomes,
and again, just to clarify, this idiot is claiming that there's changes to the amygdala and that's what causes autism or something. He has no idea what he's talking about. He's bluffing his way through a question. Will your med beds cure autism? And of course they will, but he's got to bluff what causes autism. He's an idiot.
And there's some tinkering that we understand we can do in the research and development of this, which is, once you understand what something's perfect model is, what if it turns out that that thing is not developed properly? What if it turns out that someone's genetics,
I agree,
pulled a part of their brain and not developed fully? And so essentially the DNA model that you want to use to make it into perfection isn't there. We know at that point that we can start to tinker with the software.
Oh, just tinker with the software and you can cure autism.
Software, tell the software to build that cellular tissue, then that will be projected and then the body will build that. So there is some modification that can be done in order to restore or rebuild things that were degenerative or not supposed, or sort of, due to a genetic defect were not there in the first place. So again, that's something that we have to iron out in the research and will be ironed out over time as we use the technology more and more. But we think that we can certainly use the technology to restore a brain damaged, neurologically undeveloped, potentially even developmentally disabled brains into healthy brains. And so I don't want to go too far, but I do honestly think that we can cure and restore most mental disorders, most autistic disorders, and even most mental retardation and developmental disabled disorders.
Okay, just to clarify, he said that his med beds, we're going to back it up. We're going to hear that again. He's saying that his medbed technology, if you just donate to him, can cure mental disorders, autism, and even mental retardation.
But I do honestly think that we can cure and restore most mental disorders, most autistic disorders, and even most mental retardation and developmental disabled disorders.
What about in utero?
Okay. I've had enough. And by the way, the Goldfish report is a wackadoo herself, and she's running GoFundMes due to the constant use of unconstitutional lawfare directed against her. Louisa was forced into bankruptcy. So she's running GoFundMes herself. It's no surprise that she's willing to help this guy with his GoFundMe scam. She's likely allegedly running GoFundMe scams herself. So let's recap. Apparently, Captain Randy Kramer, who is not a captain in anything, right? Captain Crunch is more of a real captain than Captain Randy Kramer. Literally, Captain Crunch is a real captain. Captain Randy Kramer's not a captain of anything except scamming people. Captain Randy Kramer is a fake Marine. He is a fake Navy SEAL. And Captain Randy Kramer has run a GoFundMe scam which netted somewhere between $10,000 and apparently $110,000, depending on whether we believe this YouTube channel who claims that they donated. First they said $50,000, then $60,000, then in one of Randy Kramer's video claimed to donate $100,000. Try to reach out to them for comment. No contact information. Let's go with the low ball. Randy Kramer ran around all these podcasts promising that his Medbed technology could literally cure everything. Let's recap just off the top of my head now. It can cure cancer. It can regrow limbs. It can repair damaged organs. So if you need an organ transplant, lung transplant, kidney transplant, heart transplant, don't worry. Our Medbed technology can do that and create and just repair whatever ails you. It can cure mental defects, autism, and mental retardation. It can cure deafness, blindness, leukemia, diabetes, Parkinson's disease, or anything else, anything wrong with you. His Medbed technology can cure or fix. And if that's not enough, if you're 90 years old and you'd like to be 21 again, his Medbed technology will be able to age regress you from 90 years old all the way back to 21 years old. Folks, that old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Randy Kramer is a fake Marine, fake Navy SEAL, who, by the way, every time he was making these claims, he was claiming that he was an active duty, or at least he was a U.S. Marine Corps veteran. And you might be surprised to find this out, but it's not a crime to claim that you're a United States Marine Corps active duty service member or veteran when you indeed never served in the military. It's a crime to claim you have certain medals. However, I believe that he's using the respect that people give service members, right? I have tremendous respect for armed service people. Most people do, because it's a tremendous sacrifice and it's difficult going in the military, going through all that training, waking up at 5 a.m. and running 5 miles or whatever, obstacle courses, training, drilling. People have tremendous respect for Marine Corps members. He's using the perceived credibility of being a Marine Corps member to add credibility to his petty scams. These are petty scams. And he made somewhere between $10,000 and $110,000 on this one scam. Now he's on to a new scam. And his new scam is University of Conscious Evolution with Captain Randy Kramer. And in that, he claims all kinds of things, but he sells courses for $99 where he's going to teach you to have superpowers for $99. And you have to ask yourself, would you trust a guy to sell you superpowers for $99 a month when you could get to see what his previous scam was all about? This is absolutely ridiculous. This man ran around promising people he was going to regrow limbs, cure cancer, cure blindness, cure deafness, cure autism, age regress people, fix broken limbs, and regrow people who had their arms and legs blown off. This man is the very definition of overpromise and underdeliver in the scam and just hype it. That's what he did. And by the way, he went around and made the rounds selling this scam we're talking about tonight. This is the Medbed scam. We're going to get into the University of Consciousness scam because Randy Kramer also sells that while lying, saying that he was a United States Marine Corps member, right? And we've seen what happens. We saw what happened when you confront a stolen valor fraud. Usually, they make a bunch of excuses and try to slink away, or they get real pissed off and angry. He got real pissed off and angry when we asked to see medical records. And by the way, Ryan from the Experiencer Support Association platformed this guy multiple times, even after I warned him several times that this person was a scammer. And because of Ryan, several people who have come here have communicated to me that they've signed up for Randy Kramer's $99 a month course based on his appearance with Ryan at the Experiencer Support Association. So good job, Ryan. Good job helping him find more victims, right? And I suppose Ryan wants to claim that he and I teamed up to get him. Then why, Ryan, did you not run? Right? Why didn't you put out a statement at the time that Randy Kramer's military credentials are fake? You helped him defend himself from that question. And you refused to even share it on the screen so that everybody could hear the question. It's disappointing that so many people help this scammer sell his scams. And right now, he's making the rounds again, going on Journey to Truth podcast and all those other UFO circle jerk shows, talking about how he was trained in the United States military in psionics and how he learned telekinesis and all kinds of other superpowers. He could start fires with his mind. He can freeze things with his mind. He can move things with his mind. He has the ability called precognition, whatever you want to call it. He can see future events before they happen. He's a remote viewer and more. Interesting that all of these clowns sign up to help Randy Kramer sell his latest scam. But I wonder, were they educated in his previous scam, this Medbed scam, right? Incredible that this is allowed to happen. And I am both angry and sad that a bunch of idiot clowns on the internet are helping this guy find more victims, and not a one of them checked on his military service. First thing I do, to be honest with you, when let's say a controversial figure claiming he was a Marine came into my life or my show, the first thing I do is check their military claims to see if they're true or not. And if they're not, I cut ties immediately. Because if he's lying about that, he's probably lying about more fantastical things in his story. And this is what we see with Randy Kramer. We see a bunch of lazy slob hack UFO circle jerkers. They can't wait to have Randy. Look at that girl at the beginning of that. She's beaming. Oh, my special guest today. We've got Randy Kramer, Secret Space Marine. She's a wackadoo and a fan of his, so she can't wait to help him sell people lies. Sell people lies. And it's unfortunate, but this is those people who are helping these liars, grifters, scammers, and con artists. They get 10 times the financial support our show does here. And let me be clear, I'm not complaining. We have kind and generous people all over the world helping us to tell people the truth, but lies sell. Fantasy sells. And fantastical stories are much more monetizable than the cold, hard truth. That's unfortunate, but that's the way the world works. But these clowns that run these UFO circle jerk shows are all falling over each other, trying to get in line to get Captain Randy Kramer on their show so they can get clicks and views. And as long as they get the clicks and views, they don't care if their audience gets scammed by this serial scammer. He was selling this Medbed scam. Now he's selling a superpower scam. And I'm going to call it that. And Randy Kramer can say or do whatever he wants to do. And by the way, we do have just a little bit more to share. Oh, but first, we want to thank UFO John Doe for a kind and generous $9.99 super chat and for being a YouTube channel member. Very kind of you, a continuing show supporter, longtime show supporter. Always happy to see UFO John Doe, always throwing a couple of bucks in our hat and helping us to continue to praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and continued support, UFO John Doe.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Thank you, UFO John Doe, and all of you kind and generous channel members and Patreon supporters and everybody throwing a couple of bucks in our hat. I appreciate it. UFO John Doe says maybe should start calling local news investigators about the people in their city, state who are defrauding people. Give them attention and real exposure they're looking for. Well, for the first time ever, UFO John Doe, I'm compiling this evidence and I'm giving it to Mr. Kramer's local law enforcement. And I'm asking them, I will continue to follow up with them. I want to know what they're going to do about it. I want an on the record comment. Are you just going to let this guy do this? Scam blind people, scam deaf people, scam parents of autistic children or parents of children with Down syndrome, or scam veterans who have had their legs and arms blown off? Or are you going to do something about it? And by the way, the simple act of lying while he's taking these donations is in and of itself an act of fraud. And forget about the lies about this medical technology that doesn't exist that he claims he's going to develop. If he's saying, I'm a United States Marine Corps member while he's soliciting these donations, and that is the only thing we prove is a lie, it's still fraud. It's 100% still fraud. So for the first time, we are going to get a packet together, and I want comment. I'm going to send them all the evidence, and I want to know what's going on with this. I want to know, are you investigating? Is this a crime? Are you arresting him? Are you prosecuting him? And we'll see what happens. And all I can do is do that, UFO John Doe. At a certain point, things here raise to a level where I feel like I'm morally and ethically bound to protect the potential victims of this idiot. So I have to turn it over to law enforcement, let them do what they're going to do, but I want to know about it. I want to know what you're going to do about it. And we'll do an update on that. Yes, Captain Crunch Kramer. Captain Crunch Kramer, and thank you, UFO John Doe. Much, much appreciated. And I appreciate the sentiment as well. You and I are on the same page. Yeah, don't question my grift and I won't question yours. Isn't it interesting that the girl who was helping him sell his GoFundMe scam has her own GoFundMe scam? She's probably one of those sovereign citizen types, it sounds like. Like, do you ever see one of those people in court thinking that they can use that fake legalese nonsense to get out of a criminal charge or a traffic ticket? It's laughable. It's absolutely laughable. So we have just a little bit more to share with you, and we will have made it through the saga of the Randy Kramer Medbed scam. We previously brought you information from Richard K. Cole Jr., who we could see here from his profile picture. He is, well, let me share that a little bigger. Not really. He is a real United States Marine Corps veteran, and he doesn't like fake space Marines, and he doesn't like stolen valor frauds. So he has been working with me to investigate Randy Kramer and his claims. This is an update from his blog. Serial scammer Randy Kramer resurfaces. I have previously published the results of a 2019-2020 investigation of Randy Kramer here. Oh, and by the way, I will put that in I'll put this in the description of the video, the link to this. My investigation obtained evidence that his claims of military service are false, and I published those documents. GoFundMe.com conducted its own investigation of Kramer's, quote, holographic regenerating medbeds fundraising campaign, which was determined to be fraud and removed. So the good news is GoFundMe removed the GoFundMe campaign. The bad news is Randy Kramer got to keep, I believe, $10,000 of that money. You don't need to hit the goal to get the money with GoFundMe. You get to keep the money. So apparently he got to keep, according to Mr. Cole, at the time that the Medbed Scam GoFundMe was taken down, it was showing $10,000 raised. Now, that doesn't include this other money that this woman claimed to give him, either 50 or 60 or 100,000 US dollars, depending on which source you use for her claims. After disappearing for over a year, covert space cowboy, Mars Marine, serial scammer, and fraudster Randy Kramer has now reappeared. Yeah. So this is the way it works, friends. They go away for a little while after the scam, and then they come back with a new scam, right? Despite being exposed as a fraud, Kramer has doubled down on his previous claims to be an active duty U.S. Marine captain, special section, and former member of a top secret unacknowledged special access program. After relocating to Sedona, Arizona, Kramer created the University of Consciousness Evolution. Kramer has resurrected a retro science fiction pseudoscience known as psionics. The word psionics first appeared in print in a novella by science fiction writer Jack Williamson, published in Astounding Science Fiction magazine in 1951. Williamson derived it from the psion, a fictitious unit of mental energy. Psionic abilities began to appear frequently in magazine science fiction stories in the mid-1950s, providing characters with supernormal or supernatural abilities. In the years after the term was coined in 1951, it became increasingly evident that no scientific evidence supports the existence of, quote, psionic abilities. Some of the wind was taken out of the sails of psionics in 1957 when Martin Gardner, in the updated edition of his book, Fads and Fallacies in the Name of Science, wrote that the study of psionics is even funnier than Dianetics or Ray Palmer's Shaver stories, and criticized the beliefs and assertions of Campbell as anti-scientific nonsense. Now we get, Randy Kramer gets a scam partner, Kendra Soleil. Kramer and his new partner, Kendra Soleil, offer a number of courses and private consultations for various fees ranging from $100 to $1,000. Soleil is a self-described, quote, psionic healer, a consciousness life coach, unquote, and works as an owner at Evolve since 2018. A search for Evolve in Sedona shows a hospitality rental management company offering private home vacation rentals. Evolve lists about 80 private homes as vacation rentals near Sedona, Arizona. Qualified homeowners can partner with Evolve to market the property and schedule rentals. Kramer's University. Once behind Kramer's paywall, students can review courses on meditation, psionic ability development, telekinesis, psionic self-defense, and skill development, self-healing, and self-mastery. A list of Kramer's psionic abilities also includes remote viewing, dowsing, telepathy, precognition, pyrokinesis, that's starting fires with your mind, that's a great superpower, and chirokinesis, that's freezing things with your mind, another great superpower. We got an Intellis background check that listed an address for Kramer in Sedona, Arizona. And I don't want to get too much further into this because this will pretty much reveal where Kramer lives. We don't want to dox anybody, but here's what I can tell you. Randy Kramer is now living in a $500,000 home in Sedona, Arizona, which is a rental. I don't know what it costs to rent a $500,000 home, but I can't imagine it's cheap. So that will give us some indication of just how much money Randy Kramer is raking in, selling people superpowers. Through the course of the investigation, also, Richard reached out to Sedona city officials, and we were able to determine that he doesn't have a business license. However, he lives outside Sedona city limits, so there's a loophole there. He doesn't really need a business license. There's more here, including the fact that we have finally found the proper person in the United States Marine Corps to report Mr. Kramer to and ask for comment about all of these scams that he's run and continues to run. But at the time of this broadcast, they have not gotten back to me, though they claim that they will review the information sent to them and get back to me. Further, we will be posting the Medbed sales pitch as a separate video, probably late tonight, like 2 o'clock in the morning. If you want to be around, we'll do a premiere for that, and I'll be in the live chat. We want to make sure that that stays for all time. It's important that I point out that before you plop down $99 to this clown to teach you superpowers, just digest what his last claims were. Those were pretty fantastical claims, and nothing of his claims was ever proven. Besides the fact that this man makes absolutely fantastical claims like he fought aliens on Mars for 20 years, or was it 17 years, I think, right? Then did a 20 and back. Corey Good might sue him. He's using Corey Good's trademark terms, right? What I would say about Mr. Kramer is that anybody who platforms him is helping him find more victims, because now he's pushing these $99 a month courses, right? $99 to get behind his paywall and get your superpowers. Now, since I haven't taken the courses, I can't 100% prove to you that nobody got superpowers, but I have spoken to several dissatisfied customers of Mr. Kramer, all of which felt ripped off after giving him $99 for a few months for his courses. I was told that his courses are a mix of psychic nonsense and self-help garbage and meditation stuff that you can get for free all over the internet. So this is where we're at, and this is where we find ourselves. We have concluded the investigation. However, I will be forwarding all that we have to both the United States Marine Corps, his local FBI, and local law enforcement, and I will be following up with them, requesting comment for how this man is allowed to continue to operate, selling these questionable products and services, especially given the fact that all of his sales pitches involve him claiming that he's a United States Marine Corps person, and he is not now, nor has he ever been in a United States Marine Corps member. That alone means that what he is doing every time he offers a service or something to sell using that is fraud, in my opinion. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a law enforcement officer. We're going to forward it to them, let them sort it out. But I will be on top of this asking for comment. We want to know, how is this legal? We want to know, how is he not being, pursued for this, or at least told to stop claiming to be, at the very, very least, Randy Kramer should stop claiming to be a United States Marine Corps member, because that alone makes it fraud. If I were to tell you, I'm a United States Marine Corps member, you should hire me to cut your grass, and I wasn't a United States Marine Corps member, in my opinion, that would be fraud, because I'm using, I'm using the legitimacy, or I'm trying to pull on your heartstrings. I'm a veteran. I'm an ethical, good person. I'm a Marine. You should hire me. And I'm not a Marine. To me, that's a form of fraud. But again, to be clear, I'm not a law enforcement officer. I'm not a lawyer. We will follow up with the appropriate parties. And, it is what it is. We'll let the chips fall where they may. We'll do a short update about this on a future show. However, given my disgust with this clown, and think about what kind of a person thinks. I know what I'll do. I'll prey on sick, desperate people to scam money out of people while offering false hope for their medical conditions. Did you get a limb blown off in Desert Storm? Just give me money. I'm going to develop med beds and fix you up. Do you have terminal cancer? Just give me money. We're going to be able to cure cancer. That's the easy part. He said that. That's the easy part. Are you deaf? Just give me money, and I'm going to develop this technology. You won't be deaf anymore. Are you blind? Just give me money, and I'll be able to develop this technology, and you won't be blind anymore. Or what about the parents of children with organ failure? He was targeting them too. Just give me money, and we'll fix your child right up. What about the people that are parents of children with autism, parents like me? Now, I would never fall for this kind of a scam. I know better, but I can't tell you how hopeless and desperate some parents of autistic children become. They're willing to try anything. Look up MMS. That was a scam targeting parents of autistic children where you essentially force your child to ingest bleach. And that was supposed to cure their autism. And believe it or not, parents did that. Desperate, hopeless people are what this man has preyed on. Sick, ailing, desperate, hopeless people, some of them dying, is who this man chose to target in this scam. And to me, that makes him a despicable slime ball. And with that said, we will be moving on to other topics. And while I appreciate that some people like these exposed shows, they're very difficult and they're very trying. They take a tremendous amount of time. I want to thank Richard Cole, who has been literally on the case for a full-on week, digging and digging and digging and digging. And between the two of us, I think that we've gotten to the bottom of this, and we will forward what we found. And I agree with the sentiments of the live chat. Mark Tirana calls him a low-life scumbag. It takes a low-life scumbag to prey on weak, dying, sick people, hopeless people, right? It's absolutely ridiculous that this man is allowed to continue with these scams. And by the way, one of the defenses of Randy Kramer, according to the sock puppet accounts that defend him on Twitter, is that he's been reported to the FBI and they never did anything. So that's proof that he's the real deal. Garbage. I advise you, go try to call the FBI and report a stolen valor fraud right now. And let me know how it goes for you. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but yeah, I probably can. I'm going to show you one day's. Oh no, it's not going to work. What I can tell you is that I spent something like 15 hours on the phone just trying to get to the right person in the Marines to handle this. I called multiple FBI field offices, all of which were voicemails. So these people claiming, people reported him and nothing happened. Bull. I don't think that I highly doubt that the right and proper authorities have ever been notified of what Randy Kramer has been up to. The right and proper authorities are his local FBI field office and his local law enforcement agency, as well as I have now I finally got the proper, I could just, no, I can't. Sorry. I was going to show you, I was going to scroll through all the phone calls that I've had to make this week and last week. It's absolutely ridiculous trying to get the right person to handle this kind of a situation on the phone. You won't find them. I have finally found the right and proper person in the Marine Corps that's responsible for handling questions from the media. And they too will be sent this packet of evidence and information. And by the way, later tonight, I will be debuting. We did the commentary over it, but I think it's important. We're going to put that Randy Kramer sales pitch just in its own video here on our channel so that anybody can sit through and listen to this clown who made all of these public statements. You know, oh, I got my arms and legs blown off countless times. I can't remember how many times, thousands of times, and regenerated. These are absolutely fantastical and ridiculous claims. And he made those claims again while he was soliciting money in a GoFundMe scam. And by the way, GoFundMe agreed with Richard Cole, who reported him, in that was a scam, and they took it down. That alone will tell you that what he was running was a scam. GoFundMe doesn't take down people if they're, you know, legitimately running a real fundraiser. They take down scams. They take down frauds. And in this case, they took down Randy Kramer. So we'll take some questions and comments from the live chat before we bounce on out of here. Yes, we covered that as well. Amy Collins says that couple in Australia was also pushing them early on, and they were fighting with Adams about who was legit. Yeah, we covered that before. And then unfortunately, Amy Collins, I got threatened with a lawsuit by them. And so I took the videos down, and I'm having trouble. I have to go through my backups because I never do this, but for some reason, I think I was just pissed off and aggravated. I deleted them from YouTube instead of just marking them private. So, but I know that I backed them up to multiple places. So when I get a chance, I'm going to dig those out and re-upload them. Sarah R. Adams is a scammer, and this Roxy and Pete, I think, were the couple in Australia. That was a separate Medbed scam, and we covered that as well. I want to get that video back up. We're going to have a playlist of Medbed scammers here soon. This Medbed scam thing, there's lots and lots of Medbed scams, and now we have Jason Shurka also running around with, I would just call it something like a Medbed scam. And those devices are in wellness centers all around the world. So great. Then I don't know that and also there was another Medbed scam involving Sarah R. Adams where they got a tanning booth. She got an artist who got a tanning booth, and then he glued orgonite and magnets in it. And she was going to set up an office in Sedona and charge people money per session to lay in a glued-in magnet tanning bed that she called a med bed. That was another scam, right? Yeah, I could. It's not important. It's enough to say that I made so many phone calls, it's ridiculous. So when people claim that people reported Randy Kramer, show me the reports, because it's like near impossible to get the right person on the phone and make a report of this stuff. That's why he's been able to get away with this so long, because of government red tape, right? You should really have way more subscribers. It's almost criminal. Well, thank you, M. Stone, and we appreciate the support. And I'm fine with the number of subscribers. We're slowly building. And, you know, would I like to be at 100,000, right? Sure. But it is what it is, right? And one last thing to share before we bounce out of here. Questions or comments for me, please put them in all capital letters. I'll take some questions and comments before we roll out. University of Conscious Evolution with Captain Randy Kramer and Kendra Salil. Meditation Academy for Psionic Ability Development, Healing, and Personal Evolution. Ooh, you can get a free trial. If they want a credit card, I'm not doing it. If they want a credit card, I'm not doing it. Yeah, they want a credit card. Sorry. Damn it. I thought we were going to be able to see behind the paywall for free. Right? But I will share this tab instead. All year plan is just $999. Access to all course, including teaching videos, beginning course for meditation, psionics, and self-mastery. Emotional self-mastery course coming soon. A monthly class Q&A. Access to Captain Randy Kramer's Inner Circle monthly Zoom call. Monthly newsletter. Psionic power cleanse. Guided meditation. Free pass to upcoming telekinesis intensive. Learn the real deal, plus future intensive for specific psionic skills. Yeah, great. And it's just $99 a month. You too can get superpowers, right? And I don't know that let me make sure that I shared this with the audio. Oh, one more time. How did I do that again? All right, share system audio. We're good. All right, start your free trial. We're educating the public about people that sell superpowers to stupid people. Captain Randy
Membership
Kramer.
with UCE is our way of reaching out and meeting people where they're at. We know times haven't been easy, and it's not simple to drop hundreds of dollars on courses with all of life's obligations and uncertainties.
That's why we're responding with our new membership program. Your monthly membership is the price of admission and the gateway to any of our materials you want, on your own time and at your own pace.
You can subscribe and go through the beginning course on meditation, psionics, and self-mastery, which is up now, and then have access to the new courses as they drop each month over the next few months. You can do all the courses and mini courses you want, and whenever you want.
Wow, isn't that great? Discount BS. Let me see if we can go back to the main page there. Lord Ludicrous with a kind and generous $4.99 says, here's some money towards the paywall. Your shows just keep getting better. Love the show and rock on. Keep on keeping it on. Well, thank you, Lord Ludicrous, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Thank you for helping us to praise the cash. And thank you to all of you members, Patreon supporters, super chatters, super thankers, and PayPal pledgers. We have to check in with that. Thank you for reminding me. Praise the cash, Lord Ludicrous.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Thank you, Lord Ludicrous. Longtime show supporter, longtime viewer. And we also want to thank sweet Caroline with a kind and generous $20 PayPal pledge, who says, I never get tired of these secret space soldiers pretending they have a background in science and biology. This idiot said once the cells touch air, they can't regrow unless you have his special med bed. Ha ha, what a dumbass, Caroline. Thank you, sweet Caroline, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Longtime show supporter, always throwing a couple of bucks in our hat to keep us here and going. And same for Lord Ludicrous and UFO John Doe and all of you kind and generous supporters. And especially want to thank tonight our big donor for the evening, right? Once in a while, one of you is incredibly generous. You're all generous, but tonight I especially, so we want to thank everybody that sent some support tonight, including Lord Ludicrous, UFO John Doe, Tim Frick, Anthony Peterson, and of course, Chris Johansson with a big $100 donation. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It's much appreciated. And of course, sweet Caroline as well. I wanted to check here with the University of Conscious Education here, or whatever, the University of Unconscious Nonsense. Courses, you can get consults. They can consult with you, right? And they have literally decades of study training and experience in the application of self-mastery and personal development. Our consciousness team is ever endeavoring to bring you the most practical and comprehensive collection of courses and tools to assist you in personal growth and psionic development. Here. Yes. Our main teacher, see, here's where it gets interesting, because I don't see United States Marine Corps on this current website. Why is that? If you were a proud United States Marine Corps member, like you claimed, you would listed. Here he just says, Captain Randy Kramer served in this special program since his youth. And he is the official spokesman. Oh, yeah, he does. For the command staff of all United States Marine Corps. He thinks this is going to get him out of trouble, saying SS, special section, alongside his partner. So he is using the legitimacy of the United States Marine Corps to sell this nonsense. And I want to know from law enforcement why he's allowed to do that. That's fraud. That is fraud. And we'll see what they say. That's all we can do is report him and ask for comment. Why is this man able to do this? Is there a disclaimer? I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't see any disclaimer. I've looked through this before. There is no, some of these clowns will put like for entertainment purposes or something like that on the website. I don't see any disclaimer. I could be wrong, but I've looked through this. Oh, look, you could buy gift cards. Let's buy a gift card and help somebody. You can buy a gift card for this bullshit. This is amazing. This is amazing. I am amazed that you could buy a gift card for BS, right? After April, they are cutting the pandemic allotment by 100 if you get EBT. Oh, sorry to hear that. Starting in April in California. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't see a disclaimer there. I don't see a disclaimer there, Wesley, but yeah. And by the way, Lunar Sparkles 1, the least the government can do is give everybody $100 a month, even just to offset the cost of eggs alone. It's absolutely ridiculous. By the way, several of you have asked me if we will cover the chicken feed conspiracy, and yes, we will. In all my life, I never thought that I would be doing a show on something called the chicken feed conspiracy, but here we are. Congrats to Randy Kramer for finding a woman. She's probably a reptilian, though, says Stephen Quigley. Hey, you never know. You never know. All these frauds should be buried under rocks, not platformed. Well, the purpose of this broadcast, we don't encourage any violence or somebody taking revenge on one of these people. The purpose of our broadcast is simply to educate the public. Like I said, I understand your sentiment, but we can't endorse or condone those kind of statements. In fact, I will pray for Randy Kramer that he does something with his talents other than lie to people for a living. That's what I will do. My flock shared us out. Great. Well, I thank you for your kindness, and I thank you for the help doing that. So this is where we're at, and this is where we find ourselves. Now, I'm not sure, but I think there will be a show tomorrow night at 9 p.m. because it's going to be 0 at the cabin. And I don't know if you've ever been in 0-degree temperatures, but it's not fun. Part of me wants to go to the cabin and test my whole heating system and everything and see, like, if it's 0 outside, am I going to be good? I think so. But the other part of me doesn't want to go there and suffer if, the heating system has trouble keeping up. I've been there when it was 0 before, but that was before all the insulation was in the cabin, and it was cold, and no amount of, firewood was doing anything. It was just running right out because there was no insulation in the ceiling and in the walls. So now all that's done, I would kind of like to test it. I'm going to decide later tonight, but it would appear that I'm going to bail on the cabin this weekend. And if so, I'll be here. We might do a show Friday, might do a show Saturday. Sandy Smith is here and says, great show and content is as usual. You send all chat members. Oh, I forgot. We have a very important announcement before I go. And I'm so happy that this is finally a reality. for those unaware, I worked in the computer field, and one of the things that I did for a while was design websites for people. And I hated it. I didn't really enjoy that work, but I was good at it. But I have not designed a website either for a customer or a client for a long time. And it's been even longer since I've designed a website for myself. I remember right before MySpace, I was making websites for every band I knew. I was just making a few websites a week for bands and making great money doing it. But then MySpace came, and every band just put their band on MySpace and felt like, so that kind of killed the website thing. But I still did it for other clients too, small businesses and corporations, whatever. But I haven't done a website in forever. And I've been dreading doing one for the show. But many of you asked, why don't we have a website? And many of you made very good points. And here what people would say. They would say, Stephen, you got to have a website, because if you have a website, you can put everything all in one place, and then it's not all disconnected. And even though I feel like we have the Facebook page and that's enough, and we post everything there, they're right. There was not one single place where you could go and get all of our videos, all of our audio podcasts, or whatever. And we never had a mailing list that you could subscribe to. Do you know how many of you tell me you don't get the YouTube notifications? Well, a mailing list solves that problem, because every time there's new content, it will shoot you an email to let you know there's a new show available here at Truthseekers. We haven't had that. We haven't had a website ever. But I'm happy to say that we finally nailed due, and it is available and online right now. And it is simply truthseekershow.com. And that would be a singular truth seeker. It's just like our email address. Our email address is truthseekershow@gmail.com. Our website address, and it's now available, is truthseekershow.com. One truth seeker. It's too confusing with the two S's, and people will screw that up. So we've registered the .com, truthseekershow.com, and the website is available. It's pretty basic right now, but I wanted to make it basic and make sure that it works on everything. What do I mean? This website works on laptops and PCs. This website works on tablets and iPads and Android tablets. This website works on phones, mobile devices. I even tried it on a smart TV. It works everywhere that I've tried it beautifully. That was my main goal. Just make it simple and make sure that it works. There's a button over here in the upper left with the main places you can go: home, episodes. This is audio episodes, videos, subscribe. Now, if you subscribe, if we click that, it will add you, or no, wait a minute, that's the wrong place. If you subscribe from the main page here, it will add you to our mailing list. And then every time there is new content, whether it's an audio podcast or a video on YouTube, it will send you an email and let you know and give you the link so you can go right to it. That's one wonderful feature. Oh, I lost it. Let me try that again. That wasn't a problem with the website. That was me back clicking. 1 second here. Let's share my screen once again. So it's truthseekershow.com, and the link to the new website is going to be right at the top of all our video descriptions and all our audio podcast descriptions. So if you ever can't remember it or you're not sure, just go to any one of our videos, and right at the top, you should be able to click and go right to the website. At the top here is the latest audio podcast, and that would be last night's show, Jimmy Church, Daniel Brinkley, Dying for Cash. The website includes a podcast player, so you can play the I don't want to do that right now. I don't want to play it because there might be commercials here and copyrighted music or whatever. But there's a podcast player right on the site that you can use. You can listen to any audio podcast right from the website, or you can also watch any video right from the website. And it also gives you all the links for all the places that you can listen everywhere. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Castbox, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and you can also get our RSS feed. And here's the audio podcasts. You can go through them. These are the latest ones. You can view all episodes here, and it will bring up all of them. All of the audio podcasts, 19 pages of content. So the great thing about having a website now is that everything is all integrated in the website, which means if you want to listen to an audio podcast from us, you just go to the website. You can view all episodes, or you can look at the latest bunch of episodes that we have available for you. And then, of course, videos, and you can do the same thing with videos. You can view all videos, and it goes to a page where every YouTube video is there and available in chronological order. I don't know why, but a couple of thumbnails didn't translate with the website. Not my problem. It's programmed right. So here you got 39 pages of videos on YouTube right from our website, and you can play them right from the website here, and they will play. So everything's integrated, and I highly recommend, especially for you people who tell me I don't get YouTube notifications. Well, go here and subscribe to our mailing list, and then as soon as there's new content, you will get a notification about it. So once again, right in the description of this video is a link. It's truthseekershow.com. We finally got our website, and I promised Spooky that next. People have been asking me for a website for 2 years, and I apologize, but it's, you know what it's a case of? Did you ever know like a mechanic whose car was always like crappy, running and dying? Like, the last thing I want to do is program a website for myself if I have to do that kind of technical stuff for customers a lot. I just have, it's like terrible to get me to do that stuff. But I finally did it. So that is one big thing off my list, off my to-do list. We finally have a website for the show, a proper website. I'm glad it's done. And hey, I'm on to other things from our to-do list for the show. Many of you have asked for t-shirts and swag and mugs and merchandise. Next week, this week I tackled the website, and to be honest with you, I said that's enough for the week for big things off my to-do list. Spooky had talked to me yesterday about the merchandise, and people keep mentioning it. Where can I? You should have shirts. You should have shirts. I agree. So next week, on my list of things to do is figuring out how to get the merchandise. Spooky has a bunch of shirt designs and things, and I think Spooky knows how to work the Teespring thing. And one way or the other, we're going to figure it out. So that's excellent news. We have some. No, some stuff is only on Spreaker. That's not true. Everything is here on the YouTube channel. But what happened is many things didn't get put on Spreaker early on. In other words, I think we had the video show for a year before we went back to also putting the video show on an audio podcast format. So because of that, we have this backlog of like 500 shows that were never on Spreaker or any audio podcast platform. So we started putting them on the audio podcast platform. And thanks, Tim Frick, with a kind and generous $5, who says, I sent you an email with a letter from Andy Pirro. Great show. Well, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. And I saw NV 150 with a kind and generous $2.99 super sticker. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Thanks to all you guys for helping us to praise the cat. Cash Clown likes it when people throw money at us. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, so I guess that's the news. We finally have a website for the show. Somebody asked also about the Odyssey and the BitChute page are weeks behind and a mess. That's also on my list for next week, right? Next, there will be a Truthseekers app. Yeah, I that's on my list. That's on my list as well. And it will include a 24-hour, 7 days a week live chat like the Discord, but it'll all be in an app. You can watch videos, go to I've worked on an app actually. I have some software to make apps for Android and iPhone on PC. So I played around with that. I just didn't get as very far, like far enough to show it to people. Yeah, and UFO John Doe says, site is sick, checking it out. If possible, a search field would be great to find an episode. Example, Bob Lazar. On my list for improvements. For right now, UFO John Doe, I wanted to keep it super simple. So we're going to leave it simple for now. I think it's a great thing too, and I hope that it really does increase the viewership and the listens of the audio podcast. I think it will, because I know me, like if there was a central place where I could go and it was just filled with shows from a show host I like, I would go there and I would watch from there or listen from there or go there to find something to listen to while I was working or doing something. I think this is going to be very helpful to us. So yes, I understand. I'll add, God damn it, UFO John Doe, I just got something off my to-do list, but I'll add a search engine to the website. It should have it, because sometimes people will want a specific show. That would be very, very helpful with finding that stuff. Good idea. Good suggestions. Truthseekers Telegram channel. Yeah, I think I signed up and I never used it. I didn't really like it, but if you guys want me to do that, I will do it. Truthseekers app does CE5. Yeah. No, we're going to call our CE6 the next level, right? We're going to do it. Actually, B. Baker, I'm going to design an app that does nothing but like it plays like a mantra or like monks singing or something like that, and shows you like funny graphics. And we're going to call that our CE6 Alien Contact app, and we're going to sell it for $10, and we're going to make it a goof. We're going to make a joke of it. And if Stephen Greer can get away with scamming people, claiming you can contact UFOs and ETs for $10, I should be able to too, right? UFO John Doe, sorry, brother. You just have so many shows. There are some classics I'm sure fans would want to find and rewatch, like Angeli. Yes, I agree. UFO John Doe, every time once in a while I say, I'm going to respond to some YouTube comments today, because I don't do that often enough. And when I get extra time, sometimes I say, oh, I'll sit for an hour or two and have, some time with the YouTube comments. It's amazing how many people come here and are still watching those Angeli episodes from forever ago, right? I would be able to meet you folks better than YouTube chat. I can't use Discord. I'm on Telegram. No, Amy Collins, I'm going to sign up for Telegram because it can't hurt. It's one more place, though, that I have to post shows every day. So, yeah, I think it might help with the show numbers, but then it's adding something to my to-do list every day. But I have a web bot that I've been developing for a while that will post things for me. In other words, I just tell the web bot to post the latest show, and it posts it everywhere, both Facebook pages, Twitter, wherever. I could just add Telegram. So I think that might be helpful. So, friends, that's all I got for you. We want to thank the chat room moderators. We want to thank you kind and generous supporters, including you Patreon supporters, you channel members, and now you Twitch subscribers as well. Thank you to the kind and generous PayPal pledgers. Thank you to also to you super chatters, super sticker purchasers, and super thanks. You too can send us money on YouTube even when we're not live. Ordinarily, you have to wait until we're live to send a super chat. There's something new called Super Thanks. You can do that anytime, even if you're on the replay crew. And we love you people in the replay crew. So I want to thank all of you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unless I go to the cabin, which is very unlikely. I think we'll be here tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have a really fun show for you tomorrow. It's Friday night. Let's have a good time. So that's all we got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you, especially you, Randy Kramer. I will pray for you that you get a real job and stop lying to people and stop disgracing the United States Marine Corps by pretending to be one of its members. I will pray for you. Good night, and God bless all of you.